Welcome to the Yeerk Boys. May the Candrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are the Yeerk Boys. All right, we're continuing with the TV show.
That's right. What are we on this week?
This is episode 3, Underground.
Which aired on September 18th, 1998. No matter who you ask, that's when it aired, according to Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
No difference between the air date and the U.S. air date.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Which still puts us on book 22, The Solution.
I don't know about you. According to Wikipedia, this is production code 6, which I think means they filmed this episode 6th, even though it obviously is chronologically meant to take place as the third episode of the series. At least I mean, that's my understanding of what production code means. I have never worked in television, but that's interesting, I guess, that this means they maybe filmed this later than the next few. I don't know why.
Yeah,
they had to build that Yeerk Pool set, I guess.
Well, maybe that's what we maybe we should have watched them in production order.
Yeah, often with shows, especially older shows, and a lot of times I've noticed kids shows or cartoons where the networks just don't give a shit how they air them because they don't have any respect for children or the creators of the shows.
Mm-hmm.
Often the production dates are the better way to watch them, especially if it's a show that's not serialized, or sometimes if they are, because sometimes they were made in the order they're meant to be watched, but then they fuck the air dates up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's clearly not the case here. This episode is definitely the next episode chronologically. Last week, of course, we talked about parts 1 and 2 of My Name is Jake. And this one completes the invasion. This is the third part of the invasion.
This ends the first book. Yeah, I mean, that makes me wonder two possibilities, maybe. The first one is, I wonder if maybe the next book we don't get any big like animals. So it's like, okay, we needed to film all the stuff with the tiger and lion and stuff back to back because we don't get them. And the other one is, since this ends the invasion, this is also presumably ending when we're going to see Tobias as a human. So perhaps there was something in his contract that he had to come back several weeks or something. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's all those things are possible.
Those are my
You're working
guesses.
with live animals and children. They say never work with children or animals,
Mm.
And Animorphs is inherently both. You can't avoid it.
I mean, I think they say that to adults. Do they say to children don't work with animals and animals don't work with children?
Yeah.
Okay.
They do say that.
Well, I guess everybody kind of got screwed here then.
Yeah, that's right. So we don't have any sharing this week.
Uh-oh. I was kind of hoping for some sharing this week.
No sharing, but if you want, you can always email us about anything Animorphs related at theyeerkyboys@gmail.com. You can also, of course, subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/theyeerkyboys. $5 a month gets you extra episodes every week. A lot of fun. But this is kind of an experiment because it's our first episode now with no sharing and with only one show.
Only one show, and we don't have to talk about the general idea of the show. So we're going to see. We're going to see if we can give you our standard way too long. I mean, here's the thing. Maybe we'll just bring this down to the length that our show started as, and we can start creeping it back up again as we get the hang of it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to see. This will probably be it'll at least be shorter than last week's episode. We might hit 2 hours. We're not hitting 2.5.
Yeah, I guess they already know, huh? Like the listeners can just look.
For us, we have no idea. We are in the dark.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to not know how long the show is.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm so excited about this. Oh my God.
Yeah. Here's something. So before we talk talk about this week's episode, I was kind of interested because I was looking at the IMDb and I saw the featured IMDb review of the Animorphs show, which mostly just talks. It doesn't seem to say much about things beyond episode one. I thought maybe I would read this featured review for you and see what you had to say about it.
But by who? Just a random person?
Yeah, no, it's just some random user. It's like you write in and I don't know. The
Okay, yeah, an
yeah.
IMDb user review of this episode.
Well, no, of I guess it's for the whole show, but I think it seems like it's mostly from the first episode.
Okay, sure, that sounds fun.
All right, so okay. They give it a 7 out of 10. Quite different from the books I've read a few years ago, but still worth watching. All
Mhm.
right. I remembered reading the books I've read when I was a kid, and I think I took a view of the episodes of the TV show it was based on, but there are quite some flaws with this film, including the part where Tobias revealed that he's the last to morph, whereas in the book series, he's the first to morph, and the part where the Animorphs meet at Cassie's barn after their first alien encounter, they tried out their morphing abilities with Tobias as a hawk. Rachel's animal form was a cat, while in the book, her animal form was an African elephant. Although in the show, she also acquires a lion form, and Marco's animal form was a brown rat, whilst in the book, he never acquired that form. With the flaws out of the way, there is some good stuff about this show. The acting is great. Sean Rushmore did great. Brooke Nevin was good, and the rest were terrific. The action for this show is pretty amazing. The special effects aren't bad, including the morphing sequences, with our characters, and the music, including the theme song, was pretty decent. Although, not a classic from the late 90s, Animorphs is still a watchable show if fans of the book series could get over its flaws.
Again, those flaws being not the acting, not the effects, not
Right.
the action. The flaws being that Tobias morphed last instead of first.
Instead of first, right. And also, Marco never, he didn't have a rat morph. And Rachel morphs into a cat first and not an elephant.
Yeah, those are objectively mistakes.
Those are some pretty big flaws, I would say.
Is there a name for this user?
Oh, they had it, but I didn't even bother writing it down.
Oh, you copy pasted this? I thought you were.
Yeah, I
reading it off
copy
the site.
pasted it into my notes so I wouldn't have to go back.
Okay, sure. Wow.
I also
only
just noticed on this read through that they got Sean Ashmore's name wrong.
Sean Rushmore.
I did not realize that when I read it the first time.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know. I was gonna try to make a reference to the movie Rushmore. You know,
not like the mountain.
No, fuck that. I didn't even think about that, honestly.
God, with the fast pace of today's modern society, I wish he'd rush less, you know?
Now that's my joke that you're doing. That's
is it
that's
now?
I mean, it occurred to me in my head, like as we were talking, I considered saying that,
but you didn't.
No, but I'm just saying it's not your place to do it. That's
you snooze, you lose, is what I say.
No, it's my choice whether or not that joke occurs at all.
Oh, clearly it's not.
Well, I have final editing power on this.
That's true.
So.
You can edit it out, I guess.
The
listeners will know if it's in here or not.
Right. I might just reverse all of this, and I'm going to be the one saying what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not, if the joke's not in here, then they'll know that you cut it out.
Right. Can I make one also before we start talking about the episode? I have my own sharing I should have brought up.
Oh, yeah.
I have a listener correction, and the listener is me.
Okay.
We're not like re-listening to these whole episodes every week, that would be.
I mean, you are editing
insane.
them, so.
Yeah, I mean, editing is a pretty loose term for what I do. But I did catch something that I said last week that on listening to it, I realized I kind of messed up, and I wanted to set the record straight. If we had a real show that people listened to, we would have got countless emails about this. but we didn't. So it's up to me to set the record straight. So last week I was trying to, I don't even remember the context, but I was trying to come up with a saying, a quote, and what I thought I was thinking of, and you encouraged me and you said, "Oh yeah, that." Was I
Okay.
said from 1984, there is no war, or there is no war with uh Eurasia or something is what I said.
Yeah, isn't that like part of it?
Yeah, so what I was really doing in my head was this has nothing to do with anything. Listeners don't like this, but it's for me. I had to say this. I had to set it
No,
straight.
I'm curious now. I want to know.
I was mixing up two things, really.
Uh-huh.
The phrasing I was thinking of in my head was from Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Mm-hmm.
when they say there is no war in Ba Sing Se. That's the line that
Right.
has kind of become a little meme for fans of the show that people might know.
Mm-hmm.
That was the rhythm I couldn't quite get out. And then the line in 1984 is, because I looked it up, we have always been at war with East Asia. It's
Okay.
East Asia. I said Eurasia, but so which presumably I guess Avatar is probably kind of referencing that a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
it is a little different. I just wanted to clear that up. That's all.
Okay. I'm glad that's cleared up. I don't even remember the context of you saying that. I just remember you saying it.
It must have been in the episode someone, saying something, like a controller saying
Mm,
something. I don't know.
sure.
I don't remember. It was early on, or no, maybe it was in from somebody's email that they wrote in about something. I don't know. Doesn't
I
matter
don't know.
now.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I read 1984, I was like 16 or something, so I'm not going to be able to correct you easily.
Yeah, I read it sort of on and off because
Mm,
I just think I just feel like people should read it more. It's a really good reminder of
it's
the world
topical.
that we're living in. By the
Yeah.
way, if you're listening to this right now on release day, it is in the United States November 5th, election day. So
Oh, shit. I didn't realize that was the
yeah,
day.
someone
Oh,
could be listening to this as the
holy
polls are
shit.
closing.
Are you allowed to like
as
I assume you could wear like headphones in, right? Like it could be
Sure.
you could listen to this while you're voting.
Yeah, that's right. If you haven't voted yet and you're planning on doing it today, pause now, and when you get to the polls, okay, press play.
Okay.
Okay. Now that you're in the booth, vote for RFK. He's If you're a
Using our
true
influence
Animorphs
for
fan,
evil.
we know RFK had a Yeerk in his head.
That's true. He did have a Yeerk in his head. He had bear and whale related scandals.
That's right.
I mean, this is the most Animorphs character now that you mention it.
Uh,
Character? Candidate.
yep.
Both.
All right. So
That's probably enough of that, maybe.
yeah, I think we can talk about the episode. Although we do have something before that, I know.
Yeah, there's a number of things. So yeah, I mean, do you want to go over, the writers and directors and all that?
Sure. This episode was directed by Ron Oliver. And this is a guy who has clearly made a good career for himself directing what I didn't confirm, but I assume they are the equivalent of Hallmark Christmas movies.
Hmm.
And he has done a lot of them.
Okay. I mean, this guy also appears to have done like a lot of this kind of thing, right? Like the Canadian YTV kids show things. Like he had some Are You Afraid of the Darks and Goosebumps, and apparently there was a thing called the Ron Oliver Show on YTV.
This I did not see.
I just saw it on Wikipedia and I was like, okay, maybe I should watch that, and I didn't. But
No idea. But yes, he directed 16 episodes of Goosebumps, including Night of the Living Dummy 2, which we just watched.
wow.
So there's a little context for you, for
Hmm.
us and patrons anyway. You non-patrons don't know.
Yeah, fuck off.
Uh he did 6 episodes of Animorphs, so we're going to see more of him, including next week. Um yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And then at some point, like I said, he just transitioned to Chasing Christmas, All She Wants for Christmas, A Dennis the Menace Christmas, Harriet the Spy, Blog Wars, Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade, A Lesson in Romance, Recipe for Love, Beethoven's Treasure Trail,
Holy shit. That one I'm going to watch.
A Christmas Detour, Angel of Christmas, Diagnosis Delicious, Every Christmas Has a Story. Oh, this one's good. He did what I assume is the sequel. Bigger, Fatter Liar. Original title, Big Fat Liar 2. Which, if you were curious, does not feature Amanda Bynes or Frankie Muniz or Paul Giamatti.
Holy shit. You know what? Get that bag. I'm proud of you, man.
I mean, he is getting that bag. There is no question. Like, this guy he's making one of these movies at least once a year. Like, he is fucking out there doing it, man.
Good on you, Ron Oliver.
I feel like that's a trend we're seeing with all of these writers, and not all of them, but a lot of these writers, directors, and some of the actors from the Animorphs show. They may not be, out there with Scorsese and Paul Thomas Anderson or whatever, but they're consistently working. They are reliable TV hire kinds of people. They must get the job done. They work under budget. Their people like them. They work well with the cast and crew. It's not nothing. I don't know. Good for them.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that's maybe this studio just, I don't know. They've got their connections now.
They know how to pick them.
Yeah. I mean, well, so yeah, because we also have a new guy for this episode, Joshua Peace as Tom. And he also, it looks like, is still consistently doing stuff, but it's all like, it's mostly stuff that I haven't heard of, and every once in a while, like, if he is in something I've heard of, it's some like bit part, and I definitely wouldn't know it. But he's still around too. He's still doing it.
Yeah, I guess he's a sort of a Shyamalan guy because he was in Trap.
Oh,
was he? As a suspicious SWAT member.
Okay, yeah. No, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, everything I recognized, it was something where I was like, well, I wouldn't know.
He was also in Devil, which was produced by Shyamalan.
Wait, do you think he was one of the SWAT guys on the roof?
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
probably one of those guys.
I think I know which guy he was. Oh, fuck.
He's also in Pacific Rim. He's in some cool stuff. I like that. It looks like at least 50% of his credits in parentheses say as Josh Pierce. His IMDb is Joshua Pierce, but it seems like a lot of his credits they credit him as Josh Pierce. Well, or sorry, Peace, not Pierce. I don't know why I added an R. But why are you just make yourself Josh? Why are you Joshua? Is this some weird Screen Actors Guild thing? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, isn't that the same thing? Like if my title of my page was William and then I was always credited as Will, I wouldn't be like, you need to clarify because people wouldn't know it was me. Like, what?
It does seem strange. Wait, who are you talking? Josh Peace is who you're talking about?
Isn't that Tom?
Wait, it is. Wait,
yeah.
I guess there's a mistake then on his IMDb page.
Oh, huh.
If you look at the episode for IMDb Underground, it does say Tom. He played Tom. But then if you click on his page and you go down to where it says Goosebumps, it credits him as a completely different guy who's in like 2 episodes that is like Guardian number 2. Oh, I'm looking at Goosebumps.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I know what the problem is here.
I got him confused.
We're not doing that page. We're on the main show this time.
How many of these people were also on Goosebumps? It's crazy.
All of them. It's the same production crew, clearly.
They just like went home the next day. Like, oh, Goosebumps is canceled. All right. Animorphs tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened. We also have one other new credited actor for this that is actually worth talking about, which is Caesar the Lion, who was the lion from the 90s. I don't know what year it was, but the 90s George of the Jungle movie.
Wow, he's got his own IMDb page.
He does.
Probably dead, this lion. He must be.
Almost certainly, yeah.
Every animal we see is going to be dead. um, what about who played the tiger? What, nobody else is credited?
I didn't see the tiger credited. There are a couple of guys credited as like controllers, and they have like one, I don't know, like one name, like no last name bullshit.
Hmm. Yeah, what? There's a guy named Miff,
Yeah, they're
M-I-F.
they're kind of weird.
Well, he's born on the island of Malta and raised in, guess where? Toronto.
Wow.
Oh, his Miff is a nickname.
Well, then why is he fucking okay? Whatever.
his last name is Mifsud, and he goes by Miff.
Sure.
This episode was written by once again Jeff Vlaming and Neil Schusterman. So it's two guys who also worked on the first two. So
Yes.
consistent there.
So Schusterman's been on all of them so far, and Vlaming I think only on 1 and 3. So, but like
Correct.
these are like the guys so far.
These are the guys so far. No women, I notice, in the crew.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on, Canada?
So any problems that I have with the show, I'll just be like, well, I mean, I'll like rewrite the first the review of the show, except instead of being like all the flaws or that it's different, I'll be like the flaws are that it was written by men. Bring back KA.
Yeah, that's right. Well, not Michael Grant though.
What about him?
Not him. Just Catherine.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So now you know who's worked on this episode.
Now you know.
Of course there's a big thing about this episode right away that did not occur in the first two.
Right. Which is the theme song.
That's right. No theme song, and now we have theme song.
Yes, and I am pretty convinced that they just didn't have the theme song because it wasn't just a new intro, it was a new outro as well. It's got this "It's All in Your Hands" song. And the outro is now the instrumental version of that song, whereas in the first two part of the outro was some, I have it written down in like onomatopoeia here, but it was like doobie doobie doop doobie doop doobie doo doobie doobie doop doobie doop doobie doo. That's how it used to go.
Okay. I didn't notice that. It was very unmemorable that.
Right. Well,
I said right away. That's not necessarily true. There is actually a cold open to this episode before the theme song kicks in.
Yes, yeah,
right?
yeah. But there is, but pretty quickly we see the theme. Yeah, no, I actually copy pasted all my old bullet points about the music from my last notes over here, because we didn't really talk about it last time. So that's why I have that little doobie doobie doop thing.
I'm glad you have so much to say about that. Yeah.
Diao music, dur 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 music, and dun dun dak music when the dogs break out. Bow wow.
What are
I
you?
don't really know what I was thinking when I wrote those.
Are you writing for Animorphs?
I might be.
Diddly doo, diddly dot dot dot. Listeners may be familiar with the theme song instrumental version because we use that as the outro for our Patreon episodes. Pretty fun. Pretty cool. So you're probably watching one of this show and you're like, wow, this is really making me think about the Yeerky Boys Patreon. Love that.
And if you're not signed up to our Patreon, just think the show could be making you think of it if only you would sign up.
Yeah. So this theme song.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out, I don't know that I've found who actually made this. Like, is it a band?
I was having some trouble with that too.
I'm seeing on some website that it was composed by Craig Hazen, Julie Dansky, and David Wolfert.
Okay.
But so that doesn't sound like a band. It just sounds like three people. I don't know. Were they hired to do this? Did they make anything else music wise? What's the genesis of this song? I have not discovered that.
Yeah, we might need to probe for that. Yeah, because I had sort of a similar experience. I was looking around, and every time I like found something that sounded like, oh, maybe this person composed it, I would like then go look at them and be like, okay, so what did they do? And it would be like, well, I don't see the Animorphs theme here, but that doesn't mean they didn't do it. I can't confirm anything. I have no clue. It's a mystery.
Mhm. Yeah, it is a real mystery. Another one of our unsolved mysteries.
Hmm.
It's called "It's All in Your Hands."
Hmm.
I mean, I don't really know if it's called. It's probably just called Animorphs TV theme song, but and it's what 30 seconds long.
Something like that. Yeah.
Standard kind of business.
It's
Uh,
all in your hands.
yeah. Well, I was gonna maybe read some of the lyrics here.
Yeah, go for it.
No turning back, no backing down, nowhere to run, no solid ground, no place to hide, no one to trust, no one to help you when you're lost. There's only us. It's all in your hands. It's pretty much that's the gist of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
it.
and
I mean,
but
that's
it's
also
got
almost all of it.
yeah, yeah. It's got kind of a 90s edge to it, right? It's got this almost
Hmm.
grungy kind of dirty guitar. It's like, no turning back, no back down, nowhere to run, no solid ground. It's like,
There's only us.
but then the chorus is a little bit. It kind of gets a little brighter, and it's like, wah, nah,
Hmm.
wah, wah, it's all in your hands now, no, no. It's kind of nice. It's kind of uplifting in the chorus.
Yeah. This theme rules. This theme is quite possibly the best part about the show. Like it is the sort of thing that's like, oh yeah, I mean, I remembered how this song went. I was excited to hear this song again, and I was a little disappointed when it didn't turn up last time. Um,
Well, I mean, we need to talk about because you
yeah,
didn't quite remember how the song went.
right. No, I mean, I remember the melody. Now here is the thing. I did have one of those mistaken lyrics things because
Mhm.
I remembered this as being like it's all in your head, presumably, because it's a that would be like a dumb Yeerk pun, and they definitely said that on the cover of a book. I'm blaming the books for the covers of the books for
Mm,
this,
okay.
but little kid me thought that that was the line, and so I was like, yeah, that's the line, right? But no, it's
Yeah.
definitely hands. When I listen to it as an adult with working ears, and it makes more sense that way, and
It makes more sense. I mean, it's all in your head
yeah.
implies that what they're all crazy or something. It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, like, what it implies is that it implies the same thing that the book covers imply, which is it doesn't mean anything. It was just a clever thing. I used a turn of phrase that sort of it could imply a York if you read it a different way, and it doesn't make any sense in the context of how we're using it. So you see how maybe I was primed to see something like that in the song.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. It is really a perfect 90s TV intro. The music is it's good in a bad 90s way. It's
Hmm.
got all the characters, turning their heads with their as
Yeah.
their credit appears on screen.
Yeah,
It's
and there's like a
classic.
little morph in the background as they like do their and their like title comes up, whatever. Sean Ashmore is Jake, whatever. Um
Mhm.
yeah, and it's got a lot of scenes from the Elfangor thing. You've got them running in the construction site. We've got, them putting their hands on the cube. We've got the great overlays of Elfangor's stupid face, like going across the background, like semi-transparent. It's good.
Yeah, it's fun. It gets you pumped. It gets you amped
Hmm.
for the show. They did a good job with it.
Yeah,
We're off and running. Good start. We're in a good mood.
definitely in a good mood. And there wasn't as much of it this episode. But I did one thing that I was thinking last episode that we didn't talk about is that I was digging the music, like just
Hmm.
in general.
Hmm. Yeah, we didn't
Um,
talk about who the composer is for the show or anything like that.
no, I don't think we did. I was also uncertain about that,
Hmm.
but I didn't
Yeah, I
like
didn't look
try
into
very
that.
hard. But yeah, I
I
mean, it has this fun like I don't know. It is that same kind of like over the top '90s vibe, but it's a lot more. It's a lot less, guitars and a lot more like weird sci-fi, electronic, whatever type of sounds. But it kind of rules, right? It's this fun, cheesy thing, and every time they're like running around doing action, and it plays, it's great, and I did really enjoy that.
I can't say the music is something I noted.
Mm.
It did not really impact me negatively or positively.
Okay, it was a lot
Uh,
less noticeable this episode than last time.
hmm. Well, I'm seeing according to IMDb, the series composer is Norman Orenstein,
Hmm.
who has just done a bunch of shows that I've never watched and nobody cares about. So there's not really anything to latch onto there.
Well,
Just just the guy's another working guy. He's done a lot of different things.
yeah. I mean, listen, it's not like it's phenomenal. It's enjoyable in that same kind of like, oh, this is some fun, goofy, dumb thing. It works for what it is, and I appreciate it.
He did do the score for 2 of the Cube sequels.
Oh, the Cube sequels.
That's right, not Cube, but Cube Hypercube and Cube Zero.
Cube
So,
Hypercube.
yes, Cube 2 Hypercube. I've only seen the first Cube. I never went beyond the first Cube.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Hypercube.
Well,
Oh man.
he also worked on, it looks like, a hockey movie which is called Chicks with Sticks. What do you
Sounds
think about
promising.
that? Except I'm looking at its page and the poster says Hockey Mom. Seems like they changed at some point. They were like, we can't call a movie Chicks with Sticks. All right, anyway.
That's too bad. I think they should have stuck with that first.
I agree. I just want to say before we really get into it, I thought this was an interesting episode. I thought it was interesting what they did with like the oatmeal. That's kind of a funny twist on,
Uh-huh.
it was like this
Yeah.
this sort of silly, but it was funny. You had to get the oatmeal because that
Right.
did stuff to the Yeerks. I thought it was kind of weird and silly. I thought the
Mhm.
bat morphs were cool.
Yeah.
I was kind of a fan of this one.
Yeah. I think you may have. Are you sure
What's
you
up?
actually watched the episode? You didn't just reread the book, did you?
Well, what do you mean? Wasn't this episode in the form of a book?
Well, I think you just might have read book 17, The Underground.
Oh shit. The underground. I'm seeing my mistake now.
Hmm.
This episode is there's no the.
Right. It
Ah,
is
well.
odd that they chose to call it the name of an Animorphs book that was totally different. And, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I bet you they do the oatmeal plot in the show.
It's possible.
It's like an easy one to do. It's stupid and funny, right? Like you can do it with the like human characters eating oatmeal. I bet they do it.
I don't know if they're going to get there though. That's book 17.
Yeah, but you can kind of do it wherever.
I guess, but there are 26 episodes of this show. We already know that like 3 or 4 of them are 2 or 3 parters. That's like 14 books at most that they're actually going to get through, I think. Assuming they actually stick to the same,
Right.
like they might skip some books or combine books, I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, but they're going to skip a lot of these books, I would assume. Now,
I
so
don't
one of the
know.
books I would have assumed they were going to skip was The Android, but you did say that at some point there's going to be Chi. You saw that.
Yeah, Eric King exists, I believe, in this show.
So I mean, we'll see which books they end up doing, but
But at any rate, I mean they couldn't call it My Name is Jake Part 3
right.
because of course this is a Marco episode.
Yes, which is an odd choice to keep doing that. Now, it starts off. Marco comes. It's like the same shot of Jake walking around the neighborhood, being like, "My name is Jake," and being all suspicious. Only this time it's Marco, and he says, "My name is Marco." Now, Marco does this opening narration. He has a slight bit of ending narration too. The episode doesn't really follow his perspective exactly. It's not really about him. It's about the whole group, and it is an odd decision to keep that running. Like I get starting it off with "My name is Jake" because it's iconic, but it is strange to me that do you think they're going to cycle through all of them?
I they must, at least for the first 6, you know, stories, I assume they will. But I don't, maybe they'll drop it after that or something, or they'll get sick of it. But the first 2 episodes we noted also weren't really Jake centric, so there's
Right.
just kind of no rhyme or reason. This
Yeah.
episode does have a little more Marco stuff. I mean, you see more of his dad,
Hmm.
but it feels like that stuff is in there because they decided to make it a Marco POV, not the other way around. It's not like organic. They're like, oh, I
Mm.
guess this is the Marco episode. Let's, like, there's a scene with Jake later from the book that Marco wasn't in. I don't
Mm.
think that he's now in, unless I'm misremembering it. But we'll get to that because there's lots of things that I'm gonna ask. Did this happen in the book? Because I can't remember anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Another thing I'll say this episode does not do right at the beginning.
Hmm.
There's which I didn't realize until like after the cold open and the theme song. I was like, they really do not give you these exposition that you always get in the books. I feel
No.
like if you don't know what Animorphs is, you don't know what the fuck is going on on
Yeah.
this show.
Yeah, that is something because last time, at the start of My Name is Jake Part 2, they did do a little bit of a recap, and it was like, now, okay, so are they doing this because it's a two-parter, or are they doing this because it's Animorphs and you always do that? No, it seems like it's because it's a two-parter. They're not doing
Mm.
the whole thing here. Like, it's just Marco being like, my name is Marco, and we gotta watch out because anyone could be a controller, which means they have a Yeerk in their head. That's what you get, or whatever he said, something like that.
Yeah, then they're like, now about this disc and Elfangor. And you're like, huh?
Yeah, right.
What?
Yeah, I mean that especially, man, if you do know Animorphs, but you just missed the first one right off the bat, they're putting the disc in, and you're like, disc? What? What do you mean the disc?
It's just such. I mean, we praise this theme song for being cool,
Hmm.
but it's such a no brainer to me. As we talked about it last week, you make that intro have a character saying, maybe just every week it's my name is blank. It could always be Jake, or maybe you have 6 different versions of it, and they just give you the 15-second aliens came to Earth. Now that we know there are Yeerks in people's heads and we can turn into animals.
Mm,
Boom. Like, it doesn't need to be anything too elaborate, but
yeah.
just give the audience something. It's so weird that they are just like, kids know about the Animorphs.
Last Airbender or Wild Thornberries or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing that shows do.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, on the one hand, I do love this theme song, and I'm actually pretty happy that it's not just an explanatory thing, but an actual
But
like
you can have
theme.
the song that leads out of the, like you
Yeah.
said, Avatar does that. Like, there's still a
Yeah, that's
song.
true. That's true. Yeah, because I was gonna say, like,
Samurai
on the other hand,
Jack.
like, if there's one series that does need some exposition and in fact is known for having too much exposition, like, it's Animorphs. You can do that here.
It's the
It's fine.
story of a bunch of
Right.
kids
Yeah,
who
like that.
found an alien and he gave them a disc.
Yeah, well, the
Okay.
disc part, I mean, hmm.
One of them had hair of gold. That was Rachel. The other one was Marco. Okay.
I mean, Jake would have fit the syllable pattern, but it's fine. There's
One of us
really,
is.
just in
Yes.
general, I don't know that we brought it up last episode, but I'm going to bring it up now. I don't know that there's any flirting between Rachel and Jake so far in the TV series.
Mm,
I think that they might
no.
have just forgotten that part of the books.
I assume that's coming.
Okay, okay.
It's I think it's implied.
Makes sense.
It's almost hotter because you don't see it.
Mm.
Did I say hotter? I didn't mean that. I don't think it's hot.
Okay, well, yeah, so like right off the bat, we get the cold open. My name is Marco. He's over at Jake's house. We see Tom for the first time. And the Animorphs are all hanging out and they're trying to figure out this disc. Right off the bat, I'm looking at Cassie again. Last time you said she was wearing overalls, and I guess I kind of didn't notice. I think I got just pissed off at her first appearance where she looked like relatively stylish and didn't have shit all over her. But this time I paid attention. I was like, all right, you're right. She is wearing overalls. They don't
Mm.
fit her properly. Okay, like it was fine. It felt like, all right, maybe I'll just back off of that. I think that they're handling it. They're doing their best.
Yeah, they're doing it's fine. She looks like an animal girl, a farm girl.
I guess.
Um,
Listen,
yeah.
without literally being allowed to smear shit all over her, they're doing the best they can, and I
I
appreciate
don't
it. It's
I
fine.
don't think that Cassie had shit
She
smeared on
literally
her.
does. In the books, there are literally parts where they're all like, I hope that's mud all over your jeans. And she's like, it might not be.
I think you're latching on to like one time that
I'm just
happened.
saying, I'm just saying, they're fucking white overalls, right? Like, you would see a speck of dirt on that. Anyway, whatever. It's fine.
Sure, maybe some, but again, it's TV. It's not
Yeah,
like
it's fine. It's fine. I just didn't look, the
she's not like
overalls that don't.
Pigpen. She doesn't have a cloud of dirt following her everywhere she goes. She showers, you know?
Listen, I'm just saying, I'm happy to see her in some dumpy overalls that don't fit her properly. I think that that's a good
Great.
choice.
I think
Um,
Marco's got the best drip though.
yeah, I
Still.
love his orange jacket. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of rules.
Almost like I want to say like a Vanilla Ice kind of a look.
Hmm.
Like he looks like a 90s rap music video with like a big puffy coat or something. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
or
Vanilla
like,
Ice is probably not the right reference. But also last week I also kind of knocked Cassie's haircut. I do want to say this week I noticed more Marco kind of has a zoomer haircut.
yeah, I
He
see it.
almost has that, like the like puffy weird it like flares out on the
Yeah.
sides. I don't know.
Listen, Marco is so ahead of the times in terms of drip. He's not even like doing what the kids watching him are going to grow up to do. No, no, no. He's like a full generation ahead of that.
I just noticed that in Jake's room on his walls, he has a big like Andy Warhol colorized looking poster of a Native American, like some kind of a I don't know what this is supposed to be.
I'm
Like what
looking at
is
it.
that? Why would this kid have that in his bedroom? What the
Very
hell is
strange.
that? He's got a picture of Stonehenge. What the fuck's going on with this kid's decorating? Anyway, we're at this disc, as you said.
Yes, we're at
This is
this
another
disc.
thing I gotta like a little bit mea culpa, I guess. Is last week I was going. It's not a disc. It's like a little device. I guess the device was
Yeah.
just the holder of the disc.
Yeah, because now it is just a disc. Yeah, I as a kid, I did sort of remember this disc coming out because, like, it's this tiny disc, and I think at this point I was young enough that I hadn't really seen these tiny discs before. And I was just like,
Hmm.
oh, that's weird. It's not the right size or something. I have a memory of thinking that.
A few years ahead of the GameCube.
Right, right. But yes, I mean, the disc goes in. There's it's unable to find application that created this file on the blue screen with giant text. They're all like, try Alt Escape X, and then it says system failure.
Yeah, I like Alt Escape X.
Pretty good.
They didn't have Control Alt Delete.
Yeah, I
Alt
don't.
Escape X has never been anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's not a Mac thing, is it?
I don't think so.
That's like hard to even do. Try to do Alt Escape X on your keyboard. You have to like bend your fingers around. It's not it's not convenient. You got to use two hands for that. Mark, I do like when Marco says, "Hey, I worked at Independence Day."
Yeah, oh yeah. I was gonna start doing references this time, but I think I
Mhm.
only did the references. Like, the problem is I don't like. At what
I think
point
there's
is
only
there
two.
like a visual reference in the background
Mm.
that I missed? Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I only have two spoken ones. They're both Marco lines, and one of them's that one.
Yeah.
And
We'll
Jake's
just
like,
point
yeah,
them
but
out.
they had Will Smith.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
It
That's
is
pretty
pretty
good. That's a pretty Animorphs line, like
Yeah.
a lot of the times. I mean, maybe not a lot, but definitely some of the times they do nail the cadence and the style
Mhm.
of those books. I think
Yeah.
in
And
that way.
and might as well get it out right now. I do really like like the camaraderie between Jake and Marco. Like they do
Yeah.
sell me on the two of them being best friends. Like I think they were doing good on that before. They do really good in this episode with that.
Yeah, they get a lot of stuff together. Again, I think partially just because, well, Jake is the main
Mhm.
character. We get a lot of Tom stuff, but it's a Marco POV, so he's also
Right.
there.
Yeah,
But
no, it helped. But like they do it like they could have fucked that up and I don't think they did. So,
yeah, you see them together. They have, some amount of chemistry,
yeah.
not none.
Yeah,
So
it works for me. Um
that's another thing that's
yeah.
different from the books. They say, "Oh, we always hung out before." 'Cause-
Mhm.
Well, basically, Marco, they're all in Jake's room, and Marco's like, "Hey, they don't know Tom's a controller yet. We have Tom now,
Mhm.
but he's like, you know." Someone might think it's weird we're all hanging out together, and somebody's like, oh, he always did, so he shouldn't stop
Mhm.
now, which is we know not what happens in the books,
Yeah.
but
Which, I mean, 2 points about that. One, I think that that is a, like, good creative decision because in the books it
mm.
was always kinda stupid where it was just like, but they could be hanging out together, like, what is the problem? How is that suspicious? And now you have to, like, find ways to excuse the fact that they're not like, and you know what? They're an ensemble cast, we're trying to get them all in
Mhm.
groups, just let them be together in these groups and hang out. It's
Yeah.
fine. We don't need to explain it. And point number 2, you don't need to explain it. You didn't even really need that line. You could have just had them all hanging out and been like, "Yeah, they've always hung out. Why are we?" It feels like that line is there to snipe any kid who's just like, but why aren't they scared of being seen hanging out together? Fuck you, kid."
You mean that guy who left that review on
That
IMDb?
that is exactly what I mean. I mean, in my head, I was thinking like me, but like no, I mean that guy who left that
Yeah.
review on IMDb. I
Oh, that
even
wasn't
as a
you.
kid, the problems that I had about this not being the same as the book were not that bad.
Yeah, I'll believe that. By the way, Jake also has a little cutout on his wall that just says "Say cheese."
And die?
No,
I thought.
no, just the
Uh,
first part.
hmm. May-
But I assume it's from that book. Yeah,
yeah, maybe it's a leftover prop from the Goosebumps episode.
it probably is. Yeah, I agree with you. It's just a fine choice. Just make them be friends.
Hmm.
Whatever. What do you think about Tom? Because this last week we were all, why isn't Tom here yet? I guess
Hmm.
it's because they were just saving him to have his own moment because they knew like the sharing was coming up and all that.
Hmm.
I mean, it would have worked better if we had seen him once before they
Yeah.
were immediately like, is he a controller?
Yeah, I do think the Tom thing would have hit a lot harder if he had had 1 or 2 scenes in the first, two-parter with just no indication that he might be a controller at all. Um,
Immediately here,
yeah,
they're making him seem so scary
yeah,
with the music and the cuts to him, even though if you're not a reader, you would have no idea he's a controller.
yeah. No, like, he first shows up when Mark is doing his, like, anybody could be a controller thing, and then, like, we get the, like, POV shot, like, from behind coming up on Marco where Tom would be, and then, like, Marco turns around in slow motion and they cut so you see it twice before Tom is like, "Hi, Marco." It's just like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so I know this guy must be a controller, right?
Might as well just play the Imperial March
Right?
underneath him. It's so blatant. And then my favorite thing is later on, he busts into Jake's room. Doesn't
Uh-huh.
knock, by the way. What the fuck, Tom? And he's just like, "Hey, what are you kids doing in here?" And then as he's leaving, he scratches his ear. And there's this slow zoom, and the kids are like, "Oh, he's
I'm,
scratching his ear."
you know,
Ooh.
when they did that, I was like, I think they did that with Chapman too, and I'm wondering if that's going to be a tell. That controllers always scratch their ears.
I guess you're trying to make a show for kids and you want some visual indication
Mhm.
because it's not the books and you can't, it's maybe harder to describe someone seeming off or something. But that is such a lame
I know, right?
device. Like,
It, you say
come
it's
on.
harder to describe someone being off, but like right off the bat, like we already said, just because of the way they directed the shots, you immediately know Tom is a control. You don't, every single thing he says, you're like, that's probably off because
Yeah.
just look at the fucking way they shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Now I will say this, Tom. So I think earlier, like last episode, you had said that you picture a lot of the Animorphs like they are in this show, or at least Jake, you do,
I
like because
think
you saw it.
I think we read enough of the books for a long enough time that
Hmm.
during this read through, I didn't it wasn't as one to one, and like I
Uh-huh.
certainly hadn't watched the show in many years. But I do think there's a little part of me that kind of had some, yes, I think some of that DNA, almost like a Frolus maneuver.
Mm.
I think
Almost like that.
I think a bit of the actor's essence did creep into my subconscious. Yeah.
Yeah, because, for me, that was not the case with most of these characters, but I think it was the case to some degree with Tom. Um,
Hmm.
like the
Well, he's
Animorphs in the
not on
books.
any of the covers,
Right,
so.
exactly. The Animorphs I mostly picture how I picture them on the covers. Now interestingly, I don't picture Chapman, or I never pictured Chapman like he appears in the show. And I'm
Hmm.
wondering if that has to do with the fact that there's like no fucking Tom in the books. And so I just like, it's like,
Hmm.
okay, Chapman showed up all over the first dozen books or so. So I like, I got this very distinct image of him, whereas Tom has like a couple scenes in only the Jake books, and then they stopped doing even that. So, if I saw this show, it's like, okay, well that he's got as much presence in the show as he did in the book. So fucking that's what he looks like in my head.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or maybe there's just no Chapman in the TV show. I don't know.
I kind of think Chapman should have a mustache.
Interesting.
I don't know. He's also the Chapman on the show is like, I think we said it last week. He seems very much like a loser.
Yeah.
I think he should be a little more intimidating. He just kind of seems like such a sad sack
Mhm.
guy who has a sucky job and the kids hate him and he's depressed every day. Like he
To
has
be fair,
no.
you're looking at that from an adult perspective, right? Like if you think like who's the like assistant vice principal that all the kids hate, and think he's scary because he intimidates them. Like think about meeting that guy as an adult. He probably is a fucking loser, sad sack with nothing else going on in his life. Sorry to
Yeah,
all you
yeah.
principals out there.
Well, have you ever watched I know you haven't, but there's a
Of
show,
course
the
not.
TV show Vice Principals. And but you know Danny McBride,
Sure.
do you?
Yeah, I do sort of. Yeah.
Okay, okay. He has, or anyone who knows or doesn't know, he has a good energy of, he's like this hard ass disciplinarian, but he is also a loser. But he's still like if you're a kid, he's still scary, like he can suspend you or whatever. This guy in the show, I'm just like, I feel bad for him. I don't feel threatened at all. But whatever.
I think
Um,
I pictured him as being more balding as a kid. You know what I mean? Like
hmm.
he's got the hair ring around the back.
You know who I like, the principal from Recess. You remember him?
I didn't really watch Recess.
I might have brought this up even. I don't know how much of us talking about this show will be me repeating things I said from reading these books that I forgot.
Nobody's going to remember that many
Yeah,
episodes back.
yeah.
That was hundreds of hours ago.
But I think a little bit of, I maybe I picture that guy, principal, I don't even remember his name, but the principal from Recess.
Hmm.
Anyway, Tom, I think they did a good job on. I mean, he's more or less resembles a slightly older version of Jake on the show, and he's got a good older brother energy.
Yeah. No, I think he works. I think he works. And I do think that he does not do a bad job at, because we after this we get the scene where well, after the opening theme, because we get the cold open, but after that we get the scene where like uh Jake is beating Marco at basketball, and Tom reveals he quit the team, and he's like, you should come to the sharing. I think he does do a good job in that scene of like not seeming like a complete like monster freak.
Mhm.
Despite, even though he's like shot as like obviously this is an ominous thing, like it does feel like relatively viable that he's just like, yeah, I'm done with basketball. I'm in this sharing thing. It's cool. You get to meet girls. Fuck you, loser kids who still care about basketball. And they're like, what's going on with my older brother? But,
Mhm.
maybe that's just what's going on with him.
You know what would have been good casting? Frankie Muniz as Jake and the guy who played Francis on Malcolm in the Middle as Tom.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. I don't know that you get your exact precise choice of casting when you're making a show like this, though.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
you
too
take what
bad.
you can get.
Yeah, I suppose I'll get AI to mock up an image of that
Okay.
later.
Makes sense. Uh,
Yeah, also we get even more Homer,
yeah, a lot
and
of Homer through these first couple scenes, but I don't know that he's really around much for the rest of it, which is too bad.
yeah, I was kind of hoping Homer would be like the sixth Animorph in this show.
It would kind of rule if Homer tagged around with them everywhere they went
He's
on
their
all their
Scooby
missions.
Doo.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
That's a missed
Ruh-roh.
opportunity. Yeah, yeah.
Controllers.
Like Zoink Scoob, I think that buffalo just turned into me. That's all I can think of. First thing that came to my head.
Man, I
Um,
mean, imagine they're gonna put the oatmeal in the Yeerk Pool, but then Homer ate all of it.
oh, funny.
It's
I
gonna be
just
good.
noticed, by the way, that Cassie's actress's hair in the opening theme song is completely different from what it is in the rest of the show.
Huh.
It's like long. Her hair is long and all the way out, as opposed to in the show it's like
Oh,
braided. I don't
yes,
know.
you're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's coming
So I
out. I don't
wonder
know.
if that changes later, or if it was just on that day they didn't know what her hair was going to look like. Because in the books, her hair is always up or short or
Yeah,
something. I
it's
don't know.
it's definitely somehow short or
I don't know
whatever.
about
I don't
enough
know.
about hair or girls' hair. I don't
Yeah.
have any. I don't need to know about it. um, is this good podcasting?
Probably. This is a good podcast, right? You like this.
I was gonna say something else. Oh yeah, here's another question.
Uh-huh.
Is this show still supposed to take place in California?
They the Animorphs were not revealed to be in California until years after the show ended.
Right, but it certainly was a place near the beach. And
Right, that's
if you're
true.
filming in Ontario, it's going to be tough to portray, summertime vibes most of the time, right?
Yeah, or like when Axe crashes into the ocean and they find him, maybe he won't be in, maybe he crashed into the forest.
Yeah, could be. Probably. I mean, what do you think? You'd really think they're going to have an episode where they go underwater and find a ship? There's no way they do
Yeah,
that.
right. Or maybe it's in the lake if they're in Ontario. There's probably a lake nearby.
Could be, could be.
Yeah, you're right. I
Uh,
mean, like, what are the odds they actually show the dome ship? There's like, they can't do that.
no,
They
no,
can't do that.
they're just going to find Axe.
Yeah,
That would be my guess.
yeah. Like maybe he'll literally just crash in another fighter.
Yeah, they'll just reuse the same shot from the first episode, and they'll just use even the same images of El Fangor because they look the same. I
Right.
guess Axe is probably just going to be in human form all the time, right?
Yeah, that's how I would do this, given their what they can do in terms of Andalite effects.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, honestly, if you're doing live action, that's not a bad idea anyway, because you know, half of the fun of Axe is his human morph being goofy, and you have a much easier time in live action portraying that goofy human self, and a
Mm-hmm.
much harder time getting like the coolness of the Andalite. Whereas if you were going to do this as an animated show, which is something we've talked about on several occasions, you might lean more into the Andalite thing because it's like, oh, this cool kind of fantastical shape that you wouldn't normally get to see. But
Well, also, he
I think if you're
doesn't.
doing live action, even if your effects are good, right?
Yeah, like Axe, he doesn't have facial expressions really, right? And he doesn't. All his communication is from his head.
Yeah, I mean,
So
he has facial expressions, but like, yeah, I
yeah, I
don't know.
mean,
It's not.
does he? I don't know. If you don't have a mouth, like all you can do is like widen his eyes. Like, what's he doing? His little stalks turn around and flap or something.
Yeah, he's always doing stuff with his stalk eyes. That counts.
Okay.
Like if he's scanning or if his stalk eyes are looking straight at you with his main eyes or
We
whatever,
shouldn't be talking about Axe because
Yeah,
he's not even been introduced yet, but I am
he's
going to
not
keep
in
talking
this.
about him because I do want to say, thinking, because, it'll be interesting to see how it turns out based on our thoughts, but
Mhm.
that's kind of almost a bummer because that if you make him almost always human, which I agree makes sense, then if you're watching this show and that human now that's Axe. to
Mhm.
you. So when he is in Andalite form, which is should be his true self, as a viewer, you don't have as much of an attachment to this thing. You're like, that's
Yeah.
not Axe. Axe is the funny guy that I like with the face.
Right. Axe is your Alan Strange or Mork or whatever.
Exactly. All right, so then Marco talks to his dad. See, it's a Marco episode.
It is. And right off the bat, again, another one of the complaints I had is addressed. Last time I had said that Marco's dad looked too happy. And in this one, I feel like somebody got my memo and they were like, you really need to ham up how much of a fucking depressed lump you are. Because he sure does here. He sells it
Huge
here.
loser.
Yeah.
Huge loser, this guy. A sad sack, just like Chapman. That's his name. Not
Right.
Chaplin, different guy.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that this scene does a better job establishing the Marco and his dad dynamic than last time, right? With his dad just like lumping around on the couch instead of being like, "Oh no, I'm not hungry, haha." He's like, "I canceled the job interview to go put flowers on your mom's grave." And Marco being like, "All right, want me to order a fucking pizza again?" It works better. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I didn't have a problem with the last scene, but it certainly is
Mhm.
more they have more time to establish it here. Uh and you see a little picture of his mom as well.
Yeah, and I thought that she was, like, not half as
Hot?
banging as she was
Oh.
supposed to be, personally.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was my
I mean,
assessment.
well, we'll see. Well, maybe when she becomes a controller,
Mhm.
Edris is like, "Oh, I'm gonna make this look good," you know?
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, she's gotta show up, right? I mean, she's
Yes,
revealed in book 5, so there's no way she won't, and they're teasing it already,
they
so
are.
it's yeah.
They're doing so much foreshadowing of it. I one thing I've noticed you've at this point in the show, I feel like you have already seen more of the parents than any time in the books, I think. And I wonder if that's just because, unlike in a book,
Mhm.
when you're filming a visual show and you have these kids in their houses, you kind of have to have a parent. You don't have to, but it makes more sense
Yeah.
that they would be there. So it's just by default you're seeing them more,
Right, you're like,
I
"Where's the
guess.
parent?" Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas in a book, it's just like, I don't know, I didn't write them, so don't worry about it. It's like, otherwise you're asking, why is their house always empty or whatever?
Right.
Although I don't think we've seen Jake's parents, did we? Or maybe
I
last
don't think we
episode?
did, I think it's just been Tom.
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious if that continues going forward, if we will get more of them or not. I don't know. We also, speaking of siblings and parents, it's confirmed. My headcanon is that in this universe, Sarah ate Jordan in the womb.
Yes, I mean, this girl is Sarah. She is called Sarah. I don't
That's
remember if
right.
she was actually called Sarah last time, but
No, they did not name her last time,
all
so
right.
we know it's Sarah, and
Yeah.
there is no Jordan.
There might be a Jordan. We don't know there's no Jordan. It's
There
just
is
we've
definitely no
we've
Jordan.
only seen Sarah.
Why would there be two sisters, and in the two times we've seen them, they only showed one? It makes no
They
sense. They
haven't
would show
cast the
both.
other one yet.
Oh, yeah, they're still. We gotta find the perfect Jordan. This is the linchpin to the whole show. Uh, and also another thing here is more Tobias and Rachel being more clearly into each other than they were in the books for like 30 books, in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
opinion.
We get this big touching scene with Rachel and Tobias flirting. That there is some ridiculously cheesy music over this scene that I thought was hilarious. um but listen, so in this scene, right, Sarah takes a picture, right, of the two of them together, and she's like, I got a picture of you with your boyfriend. Now, in book 3, Rachel has a picture of Tobias in human form, and it's like the only picture of him that she has, and Tobias is like, "Where did you get that?" And it's whatever. I suspect that's what this picture is going to be. I think that this
Mm.
is them being all like, "What if instead of just having Rachel pull that out, what if we actually had the scene where the picture gets taken, because that way we could have a scene where Tobias and Rachel actually like each other, and it could be a scene where he's a human instead of just having her flirt with a bird all the time.
Yeah, novel concepts, truly.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
all of that is a lot better if that's what you're trying to do.
yeah, yeah. Do you think Tobias is dreamy?
Not sure.
I don't know. I think girls would be into him. I think he's got kind of a David Boreanaz quality.
Now I was actually thinking if you go to, I have a timestamp. If you go to 7:29, he is doing a
Yeah.
smile right here, which is
Mm.
incredibly Nathan Fielder.
Thought you were gonna go Nathan Fillion.
No,
That's
no, like he's
two
got
different
like just
Nathans.
the way he looks up and does the little smirk, and I've been noticing he does that little like awkward, nervous jaw thing. I don't know. I'm getting,
Well,
you know
they
what?
are both Canadian.
The ladies love Nathan Fielder, though, I think.
That's true. That's also true. I mean, he looks like another who I think I also again said maybe I pictured him as or something in the books is Sean from Boy Meets World.
Hmm.
Hunter Strong, I want to say that kid's name is. He's not a kid now; he's like probably 50. But that's the kind of energy I feel like Tobias should have. You know, if you've seen Boy Meets World, you've seen
In
Boy Meets
theory, I
World.
have, but I don't really remember it.
Sean
I
was
was
like
never
his
into it.
best friend, his like neighbor kid, but he was kind of like I think his dad was like a shitty dad, like a single dad, and he was kind of a just kind of a not as he didn't have like the nice nuclear family like
Mm,
Corey did.
right.
He got into trouble sometimes. That kind of
So,
thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Kind of looks like that.
Okay. Well, there you go. It's probably the leather jacket, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Is Tobias you know what? Never mind. I don't want to say it. Let's continue. Let's move on.
I'm a little bit worried about where you might have been going with that.
Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. I wasn't saying anything.
Okay,
Let's
good.
just move
Well,
on. Let's move
yeah,
on.
we can move on. We can move
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Yeah. Listeners can write in and say what you think I was going to say. And if you're right, I'll tell you, but you have to guess.
I hope it didn't involve any words that they didn't even know you knew.
I don't know about that. Okay, so this is nice. We've established Tobias and Rachel.
Hmm.
Uh, now we go to school.
Right.
We've already learned about the sharing. I really like that there's a banner for the sharing meeting in the school,
Yeah,
and
that is fun.
the font on this banner is so funny. It's like the wackiest. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like if you were making in the 90s a kids card game that was themed around Aztec or Inca or something. Like it's got this pointy ends to each of the letters, and they're kind of like jagged the way they're all zipping around the angles of these letter shapes. It's just so I don't know. It's not what I would picture for this meeting that's supposed to be like the Boy Scouts. It looks like, well, wacky, weird fun or something. I don't
Never would
know.
have occurred to me to comment on the font for this. So I'm glad that
That
I'm
is
here to
I'm
have you.
that makes no sense to me because the first thing I locked in on, I saw that banner and I was like, what the fuck is that font choice? It's insane.
I mean, I was looking at the orange and black on it and wondering if it was supposed to be like a Halloween meeting. Like, I guess,
Also a weird choice.
yes. I mean, I suppose this aired in September, so maybe this is supposed to be a back to school autumn. But yeah, I mean, you are right. The font does look more like a wacky Aztec thing than like a Halloween autumn festival thing.
There's also there's like
Yeah,
squiggles in the corners. I don't
yeah,
know what
what are
those are supposed to
those?
be. They look like
Trying to figure that
amoeba
out.
or something.
Little
It's just some
splats.
whoever the graphic design team was on this show, they dropped the ball on this one. I am not liking it.
Now, I mean, this scene also has Chapman giving Marco a pitch to join the sharing in like the most ominous way possible. Like if you aren't trying to threaten him because you think he's an Andalite bandit or whatever, I mean, th- is this okay, so you're going to infiltrate the school, you're going to pretend to be the vice principal, and your job is to get these kids to come to the sharing meeting so we can infest them. And the way that you do it is you show up and you're just like, your grades are falling. Maybe what you need is some better friends, like at the sharing. Like that's your plan. That's how you're going to do that.
You know,
So just
Chapman's not the best.
I guess to be fair, it was probably Visser 3 who trained him and not Edris, so that's
That's right. He's using the Visser 3 technique.
right.
Make sure you say it menacingly. You need to scare these kids. There is a really funny line where he says, he's like, there's a student who was one of our best performing students that has been dropping as of late. And Marco's like, oh, if I see him, I'll let him know.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
It's really funny.
Pretty good. And this
You
is
can't
also
keep Marco down.
you can't. No, Marco works in this. It's good. She's doing good this show. Yeah, there's also we see the lizard that Jake's going to turn into for the first book.
Yeah.
Which I guess in this one it was a science fair project and Jake like lost it, so it was running around the school anyway. Which I don't think that was what happened.
I cannot remember. Did he just get this lizard somewhere else in the book?
I
What
feel
was
like
the
he just like got it at like the fucking barn and it was
Yeah.
and I think we commented on it cuz we were like why a lizard?
Right. So I guess that's a punch up if they kind of explain a reason for the lizard.
Yeah, it does make more sense, but I also I'm not quite sure why they needed to have the lizard running around the school rather than just like let's turn into this lizard I'm working with. I
Yeah,
guess
I guess
it's so Chapman
it's
could be like
right.
disgusting creatures.
Yeah, it's to establish he doesn't like lizards and that I don't know. It's a little we needed an animal in this scene. We paid for these lizards. Let's put a lizard down there, I guess. I don't know. It is, by the way, they say it's a skink, but it's actually some other thing. I don't know. This was on Seropedia or something that it's
Oh,
like a
was
different
it?
kind of
It was a
lizard.
green anole, I believe.
Well, in the book, but I think in the show
Oh, I see.
it's even a different thing. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like two different things in the show. I don't know. But this is the scene that, if I recall, it's only Jake is a lizard in the book, right? Marco's not around for this.
Right. Yeah,
Am I
no, in the
wrong?
book,
Yeah.
I just scrolled through my PDF. Yeah, in the book, it's just Jake who's doing it. And also, yes, Cassie, they're just like, what do you think I should morph? And Cassie's like, I've got the perfect idea for a good animal to infiltrate the school with. And it's a fucking lizard. So it's her fault in the books.
Cassie, genius at work.
Anyway, yeah, so it's just Jake in the book, but here Jake and Marco do it, and it's not like a pre-planned thing where they're like, we should follow Chapman around, let's get it all set up. They're just like, oh shit, Chapman's going to check out this pool thing. I don't know what that is right now. Let's just fucking turn into this lizard and follow him.
Yeah. And this is all good, I think, because
Yeah.
it's good to have Marco in the scene because you have someone for Jake to talk to. It's not
Hmm.
just him. And also you get more of their relationship established, which is a plus.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense, like you said, that it's a spur of the moment thing. Oh, Chapman just happened to be sloppy as fuck discussing his Yeerk shit right in the middle of the hallway. And they're like, oh, let's go get him right now. We have lizards, let's just do it. So yeah, it works.
I mean that does get rid of our criticism that we kept levying the whole time, which was just like Jake didn't fucking practice this lizard before he did it in the locker, even though he
Right.
acquired it the night before. No, it's like, listen, we're doing it right now. But also, I think that that's just good writing when you're doing this for the TV episode too, because you have to condense this, right? Like in the book, you can have this like scene where everybody's just sitting around and talking about what they're going to do, and you can showcase the characters, and then you can kind of have this action scene. But here, it's like, man, we got 24 minutes for this episode. The scene where they're talking about what they're doing and what they're doing is they've got to be the same scene. We don't have time to have them sitting around. We don't have time for a barn scene unless it's like really important.
Right. It is crazy that this is ostensibly the third part of the first book, and
Yeah.
yet they're calling it its own episode. They're not calling it part 3.
Yeah, it is
And
strange.
I don't know why they felt the need to do that, but maybe they're like, 3-parters aren't as good in
Mhm.
the ratings. 2 is all we can do. um,
Yeah, I mean, like, they did do a decent job adding an extra arc with we gotta go back and get the disc, and therefore, we
I
get this
suppose.
action scene, so they did do that, and, I mean, I get the idea that there's so fucking much stuff in the first Animorphs
Mhm.
book, and then you wanna add this disc thing too. Like, I get it, but you are right, it is odd that it's not just a three-parter.
Yeah, but and even still, this episode moves pretty quick.
Yeah.
Into like they speed through a lot of stuff. Not so speedy. It's not like overwhelmingly fast, but if you've read the book, it does feel a little accelerated, and they don't even show you the lizard morph, for instance. They're like, we
Mhm.
don't have the time or maybe the budget to animate that one. Just
Right,
cut
right.
to lizards.
Cut to lizards. I did like cut to lizards. Once again, they do the lizard POV shot where it's like all green and we get the voiceovers where they're like, "Man, this lizard sure is skittish" or whatever. I do
Yeah, you know
not
how
think that the
lizards see things
voiceovers
as green.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do not think the voiceovers are good. I think like they're very like, yeah, this kid is just standing in a sound booth reading off of a page here. That this kid's not a lizard. Um,
The thought speak in general, I don't know how I feel about the echo effect on it. I think it's too much. It's
hmm,
too distracting.
hmm,
I don't know what I understand it's hard to convey that they're speaking
yeah.
psychically to each other, but it just feels too I don't know, like they're yelling in a pit. I don't really like the way it sounds.
Would you do like a different effect or no effect, or would you just turn down that effect? Because to me, it feels like you do want some kind of effect, and like an echo might be a good way to do it.
Yeah, I don't know, it's hard because I think in the
Mhm.
actual lore of the Animorphs, I don't think there would be an echo,
No,
right? Why would there be? It'd be
no.
ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that would just be a stylistic thing so that it was, you could distinguish it from, okay, this is not a narration. This is not the character speaking. This is
Mhm.
definitely,
Well, that is
uh,
how every telepathic thing works in every
right.
movie, right? It's always that.
Right. Yeah. No, it's just like that's the easy,
It's
quick
shortcut.
reference. Like,
Yeah.
what if you didn't watch the first episode and you don't know they can thought speak because they don't put that exposition at the beginning of every book? This way, you just know that's thought speak.
Yeah, you gotta do something.
Yeah.
I feel like there's an alternative though that
Hmm.
maybe is different. I don't know what it is, but I think they should have tried to come up with one.
That's fair. That's fair. It didn't
But
bother me, but I get why that. Listen, that is what I. Even though this doesn't bother me the way that it's bothering you, I do think that this is a very important part of it. Right? Like thought speak
yeah, we're gonna be
better
hearing this a
work.
lot.
It better
Yeah.
work, yeah. So you should put a lot of effort into making it, like, just so, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe even yeah, just at minimum, just tone that echo down like 30%. I don't know. It just puts me in a weird headspace to hear someone's voice all, "Hey, Marco." And I can't. It's not really possible to do an impression of how they do it, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Um, uh, so they follow Chapman and Tom, who, by the way, they're in this closet talking to each other, and I think they have strong gay porn energy in this scene.
Interesting, that did not occur to me.
It just really seems like they're about to fuck in this closet.
I see.
They're like they're like right up against each other, and I don't the way that it's lit and like the filming style just looks
Right.
like a
It looks
70s like bow
it
bow
looks
chicka bow.
right, it looks like what as a gay porn connoisseur, you're
Uh-huh.
just like, "This looks
You're
a
saying you
lot
are?
like." Well, I don't
Yeah.
know.
No,
I
you
didn't
said
get
it.
those vibes because
You
I
just
don't
said
know.
as a gay porn connoisseur
Right,
is
well,
what
I'm
you
just saying, like,
I didn't say that.
that's what
That's
you see,
you.
you can tell.
Right. That's what you see if you as you are. I see. I see. I see. I see. Um, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, they're Canadian. That's part of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
They just have this gross look, like they're about to just get grimy and start fucking.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing, when they did the Tom reveal, right, he
I
goes
mean,
in there,
Tom's pretty
Tom
hot.
turns
Yeah.
around, um,
Yeah.
I would agree. Uh, I was surprised that that is not where they put the commercial break, because there is a fade
Hmm.
out to commercial in this section with, like, a cliffhanger. If I were doing it, I would have put it right after Tom turned around, so you're like, "Oh my god, it's Tom!" commercial. But they don't do that here. They wait until Chapman like grabs Marco by the tail and again is like nasty little creature, and then they fade to commercial.
Yeah,
Just
I
odd
think you're right.
placement.
Your cut is better. This is the first time we officially now know Tom is a controller,
Yes.
quote unquote.
Yes.
Big reveal.
Yes, big reveal here. Which
He
I
says
think
that.
was like a sharing meeting or something before. There's also
Mhm.
it's this is also like just before this scene when Chapman's talking to the kid in the hallways when they say like we know the Andalites are using human morphs around my age, which
Mhm.
in the book, the first time they know or they think they're Andalites is in the attack on the pool at the end, and Visser 3 is like, I know you're not real animals. I know what you really are. And Jake's like, oh shit, he knows we're humans. And he's like, you're Andalites. And Jake's like, oh phew, thank God.
Mm.
Because like at this point, I think they are just they don't think there's Andalite bandits. They're like, yeah, there were some kids at the construction site. We're looking for them. They're not like there were some Andalites who morphed into kids.
Yeah, I can't remember, and I also feel like the books eventually just stopped talking
Yes,
about this.
they did. Yeah.
Like, yeah, but there was a period where they kind of thought, oh, they're kids, and that's why they didn't want to hang out together. They're like, oh, it's too suspicious. But I don't know if it was ever really clear or believable to me that they would suspect kids
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. Like, why, if
Okay.
Andalites are morphed as kids, also, why would they be going to school and shit? That
Right.
makes no sense.
Right. No, I mean, in the first book, there weren't. I mean, they didn't have an animal attack to get the disc back, right? So it was just like, okay, we got to get there. We just know we saw kids at the construction site. So the presumption is there were some human kids there who saw it, and we're just looking
Yeah.
for them. When the animals attacked, they were like, oh, they can morph, must be Andalites. Okay. Um, but they were worried that people might figure it out. And there was that bit in book 4 where the controllers just get hard evidence that they're kids and they're like, yeah, but don't tell Visser 3 because he thinks they're Andalites and he'll kill you if you disagree with him.
I don't even remember that. You know
It's
how you could.
literally, they're like, we're following these kids' footprints through the sand dunes and then they just disappear in the surf and we found their
Uh,
clothes and they're gone.
Here's how you convince them that you're not Andalites. Just be in school for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Done. They're in school every day. Chapman sees them every day for like 6 hours a day. Pretty sure they're humans. Okay, case closed. We're not
Right. But
suspicious of them.
well, that
I
would
don't
work on
know.
Visser 3. Might work on Chapman
Oh,
too.
right. Yeah, I mean Chapman's Tom though.
Yeah.
Tom says in this scene, Chapman is like, "What's up with your host's brother?" And
Yeah.
Tom is like, "I think he may be a problem." I'm like, "Why? Why?
Yeah.
Why do you even give a shit about him?"
Yeah, right. Like that is 100%. Like they seem much more worked up about infesting kids, which I mean, like I guess that's part of the artifact of again, like rather than being like a high concept sci-fi book series, this is like a 90s teen drama, so they have to be a little bit overworked up about the teens. It's like, oh shit. Oh shit, Jake might not become a controller yet. That's going to be a problem. We better go after him. Yeah, okay, who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah, yeah. It doesn't make sense.
I think it's fine for a TV show, but yeah, it absolutely it's only there just so that you can have that moment, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, Another question I have is why Chapman he so thinks that these lizards are disgusting. He hates lizards. I'm like, have you seen yourself? You're a nasty slug monster. What do you have against a lizard? They're
Yeah,
fucking a model compared to your ass.
right. You'd
What the
think
fuck are
he'd
you
be like,
talking
"Oh,
about?
this is a much nicer creature than a human." He should be doing
Right.
Agent
Yeah.
Smith fucking
Yeah,
monologues
yeah.
about human beings and being
Yeah.
like they should be more like bugs.
That's who should be Chapman, Hugo Weaving.
Yes. Maybe that is who I picture. Because I was like, I do picture him more bald. Maybe you know what? From now
Actually,
on.
Hugo Weaving's voice for Visser 3 would be ideal.
Hmm.
That would be good, I
That could be
think.
pretty good. He could play Max Leach. I'm gonna be so
um,
sad when they reveal Visser 3's like name or some shit. in this. His like they give him a name and it's not Max Leach.
Yeah, yeah, probably not. We also saw the Yeerk Pool in this, the entrance at least.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I couldn't even tell what I was looking at.
Well, it looks like a brown cavern entrance. I thought it was. I thought it looked cool. Honestly, here's the thing: every at, at no point of watching this show am I prepared for them to do what is in the books,
Ah, okay.
because I'm constantly just thinking in my head like, well, how do you do an underground cavern, or how do you do an alien, or how do you do all this shit that to me, for the budget and time period of this show, seems in many ways unreasonable to do. So anytime they do something that just is basically what's in the book, I'm a little impressed. I'm like, you know what? They opened a door. There's like a dark cavern leading down. Hey, that's the Yeerk Pool. Okay, props, I
Seem
guess.
maybe a little easily impressed here.
Well, it's more that my standards are not even my standards are low. Like I just don't. I'm just surprised. I'm waiting for them to find a way out of everything. I'm assuming they'll just use tricks to avoid doing shit. And for so far, a lot of it, they haven't done any tricks. Most of the first book, in some
Well,
way or another, is intact.
other than like actually showing an Andalite or the Antarian bog or a Hork-Bajir.
Well, we haven't gotten to the. Oh, well, yeah, in the first episode would
Yeah.
be the Antarian bog, but I mean, yes, but they're still there. Like they didn't like just cut them out. Like they still those
Well,
things
how are
did
you going to cut
happen.
them out? You can't. I
Well,
feel like they did
they
use
cut out
tricks to avoid showing them.
they cut out the taxons.
They
Taxons are
did do
gone.
that. They did do
They
that.
could have just said no Hork-Bajirs. It could have just been people.
Yeah, maybe they should have though, given how
Yeah.
much they did cut them out.
Well, we'll get to them later too, but or they didn't
Last
even have
episode
to
too.
show him even in silhouette morphing in the first episode. He could have just taken out a laser gun and shot Elfangor, like for all they cared. It would have been the same plot effect.
I
But they,
guess. I
they
feel
did
like it would
something.
undercut the monstrousness. Like he's supposed to be extra. Like Chapman would shoot
Sure.
somebody,
I mean, sure. You're not wrong, but it's still like it would have gotten the point across, and it would have been much easier for them to do. I'm just giving them a little credit for
I don't know that it
being
would have been that
truer to
much
the
easier
books.
for them to do, given that they didn't even make a full Andalite. But they just animated some shadows on a wall to do the morph thing. But whereas they
It's
they
way
would have had to
harder
actually
than
make an Andalite if they wanted to shoot an
no,
Andalite.
no, they didn't. All they had to do was show you a close up of his face, show the hand holding a laser gun, and then you do a little pew pew and cut. You don't need to show
I,
shit.
I feel like your standards are abysmal right now.
What are you? I'm basing it on what they could have done that would have been the lowest, easiest thing to do. We already saw his, morphed hand moving towards Elfangor's face. Just put a gun in it, shoot. That's way easier. I'm saying they put in
Hey,
more effort.
it's not Birdemic. Hey man, I'm impressed. It's better even than that.
I think you are being too not giving them enough credit. That's
I
what
don't
I think.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm
I
giving them
think so.
appropriate credit.
That's just because you're an Animorphs purist and you're like, no, the Antarian bog is essential to the
The
themes
Antarian
of the story. And I think it's just because you grew up with it and it's in your
it doesn't
brain.
have to be the Antarian bog, but like it should be somehow more over the top and monstrous. And I don't think that you can just cut around it, like show it in silhouette or like do close-ups of face, gun, boom, boom, and get like it should be impactful. And I don't think that either of those have like the silhouette thing is more impactful than what you're describing, sure, but it's not. Yeah, they're definitely using excuses to get around it. I
Well,
don't know
look,
how
what
you
did
can
you
look at a Hork-Bajir in this, the way that they're just like, here's its head, there's its foot, they're dangerous, see? They
But
were
what
fighting
did
or
you
something.
is there in any universe, did you think they were going to show you a full-fledged Antarian bog in live
No,
action
but you're over here
devouring
saying
him?
I'm impressed that they didn't cut around that, and it's like they did. I
No,
don't know.
I'm not impressed. That's not the word I would use.
Okay, okay.
I am more just like I think it's something. I'm giving them some amount of credit for there are way easier shortcuts they could have taken. They are like, if you read the outline of the episode, it does match up more or less to what happens in the books. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's something.
All right, sure. It just sounded like maybe you were a little bit impressed with that.
Listen,
Because for me, that's
we
like the bare minimum is that they should be able to do that. Like, if they want to change it to make it better, that's fine. But if they can't even match up to what was in the books, then like that to me feels like just a failure.
listen. I said it last week. I like the silhouette. I think the silhouette works. I think it works fine. I
I
got
mean,
no
it was
problems with it.
fun. It was silly, but like you can't say that they're not cutting around it.
No, but I also am like, there's no other way they could have done it other than have a way higher budget. Like, they're just that. I think that was the option if you're gonna do the morph. I don't know how else you show that other than like,
Sure.
because they don't have the money to build a freaking John Carpenter the Thing puppet or whatever the fuck. Like, they're not doing that.
Now, here's the thing. This whole conversation started because I said that the cave that they were going to go into looks bad. I think you're bringing it to the Antarian bog because that's the most insane thing that you're like, there's no way they could have done that. I think they could have done a better job with this cave.
I think it looks fine. It looks like a cave. What do you want? It looks like, if you look at a picture of the entrance to the Yeerk Pool from the book illustrations, it's a brown staircase. What do you want?
I don't know.
That's
It
what it
just,
looks like.
I guess. I like can't even see the staircase. It's just like some brown stuff.
I think part of that is simply the quality of the transfer of these episodes, to be honest
Hmm.
with you. I
Hmm.
think it's just like fuzzy because it looks shitty. I'm
Hmm.
not saying it would look great. I just think you don't need that much. It's a simple, it's a brown wall. I mean, what do you want it to look like? There's no GLEAT biofilter in place at this point. It's just a wall. It goes into a
I'd
cave.
like it to look like an ominous staircase down into like a kind of hellish thing. Instead, as you said, it looks kind of like a wall or something or some brown texture.
I guess like the
I
lighting
don't.
could have been
It doesn't
a
look
bit more
ominous.
ominous. Yeah,
Anyway,
sure. I mean,
whatever.
sure. Again, I'm
Here,
coming to it from like, I don't even know if they're gonna have a Yeerk pool.
all right. So here's another thing that's a little bit different here. They get here, and Tom is like, "I need the Kandrona nutrients, right? I have to go in for my regeneration." And they
Uh-huh.
use the word regeneration a lot here. It seems to be
Hmm.
what feeding at the Yeerk pool is called.
Hmm.
I don't think that was ever. I don't think that was like a thing in the books where they were like, "Yes, this is my 3 day regeneration." It's an
Yeah,
odd choice.
maybe they just thought, I don't know, that was their short. They didn't know how to explain exactly
Hmm.
what it was. I mean, it's not that hard. You just say it's your
Yeah,
energy source or something.
you could say we have to feed. I need
Yeah.
Kandrona. And you wouldn't know what that means, but it would be fun. Like, one thing that I do think that is a good decision here is that, however, whether or not you think the exposition is clumsy, the Animorphs should be figuring this stuff out by watching the Yerks, because a lot of these details they kind of knew. Oh, there is a pool. Oh, they need to feed every 3 days. They kind of knew because Elfangor did that like psychic dump with Tobias. And he was just like, oh yeah, so I know a bunch of extra details because we didn't even after like 5 chapters of nothing but exposition, he didn't exposit enough to us. I think it is better that the characters organically figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense, even though I mean, we'll see if it's just all on that disc later or
Yeah,
what.
what the hell
But
is on this disc?
I still
It's
think the axe theory is what that disc is. That's my guess.
I'm gonna go
It's
with
just
it says Tobias, I am your father.
maybe it's his Heracdelest. Maybe that's the Andalite Chronicles, and we're gonna get to hear it
Yeah,
when
they'll
they
be
when
like,
they run the disc.
oh hell yeah! Or it'll come up and it'll be like, you get ready for the new Animorphs movie, The Andalite Chronicles." It's what's on the disc, and then we're like, oh, they never made it. That sucks. I was hype.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just relieved that nobody ate a spider.
Yeah,
That was one cut I can
I remember
agree
you
with.
hated that. Yeah.
Gross.
No nightmares about eating spiders either.
What?
Well, Jake had a nightmare about
Oh,
eating a
oh,
spider.
oh. I see. I thought you were referring to my nightmares.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you had those too.
Okay, we're about to get to the big finale here.
Yeah, we are about to get to the big finale, and I will say before we get there, I'm pretty happy. Like, as much as I just yelled about it, I'm pretty happy with the episode up until this point. Like, up until this point, I'm like, you know what? I'm digging this. I'm
Mm,
liking that these characters are like over the top. I'm liking the kind of like camaraderie that they're having with each other. Um, but like once we get into the big action scene at the end, I do think that I lose it a little bit. Although, oh wait, no, because first they have to get the animals, so I still kind of like this bit.
true.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This is where they get the battle morphs.
Right.
They go to, it's not the garden. The gardens does not exist, it seems.
Yeah, Cassie is like this, whatever this is where my mom works with exotic animals. I don't know what
Sure.
the place is, but that's what it
It's
is.
they didn't have time to, or budget to rent a theme park.
Right.
It's just a place with some animals. I guess it's like a wildlife preserve or something.
Yeah, Cassie's mom
I don't
lives
know.
on a preserve. I guess they have some dangerous animals or something that are here. I don't know what this thing is.
We don't know. It's where they hold the bad animals
The
who are
bad
mean.
animals, right? Yeah.
This is them in timeout. Then they go to the zoo. It's a rehabilitation center. So this is something. Obviously, there's the first big change. Jake gets a tiger.
Mhm.
It is a white Bengal tiger.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I brought this up again, if I'm repeating myself from when we first read the books, but I think certainly because of this show, I, at least early on in the books, I thought he had a white tiger. Like I was picturing a white tiger in
Mm.
my head. I'm sure they probably describe it as orange and black, so I probably didn't really. But in my head, I had
Mhm.
this white tiger pictured because of the show, and also because in the books it is a Siberian tiger, which is not a white tiger.
Mhm.
But in my head, I'm like, oh, Siberian. That's like the snow and stuff. So that's the
Right,
white
it's in
ones
the
probably.
north. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. I get why you would think that.
But yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's just what they had on hand, but it's
Mhm.
it's kind of cool, I guess. Kind of, doesn't the White Ranger on Power Rangers? He had a white tiger, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I never had the image of Jake as being a white tiger. It's fine. White tigers are cool. It makes it,
Hmm,
I don't know, like you get to see this cool tiger.
sure, why not? It's whatever.
Yeah. I do like that they have the whole like long drawn out scene where Jake's got to touch the tiger and it's like, oh shit, it's going to eat him, it's going to tear him apart, whatever. And then after he gets it, they're like, all right, now your turn, Rachel. And they cut to Rachel walking away from a lion, like, well, that's done. And I almost guarantee you that this is because Brooke Nevin was just like, fuck that. I am not touching the lion. No way.
Yeah, that could be. Or maybe they were like, you cannot touch the lion.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
are
you can
not.
touch the tiger, not that lion.
I mean, you see it once. What do you need to see another acquiring for? It's the same deal. You get the gist.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's a lion. She's not no bear, no elephant. Well, I guess
Yeah.
bear came later in the
Yeah, in the book
or
she doesn't get a bear till book 7, but
but she is a lion, which I mean, kind of makes sense for Rachel, a
yeah,
lion.
it's
It's not
fine.
a crazy choice. It is
Yeah.
interesting that they went with two big cats, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't that one's fine, right? Like she should be something kind of dangerous and it like yes, it's iconic that she's a bear even though
R-
she was an elephant here. But at a certain point it's like you got to use the animals you have on hand. That's a dangerous animal. It's fine.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah.
no big Jim for Marco. I
No,
don't even think he
Marco
gets
and
an animal.
Cassie don't get battle morphs. They're just like, okay, that's enough. Let's leave.
Yeah. We're not going well they can't get the same one. They only have a tiger and
Right?
a lion
No,
right now and god
no.
forbid they double up.
It would be insane if they all had tigers and
Yeah.
lions. Why would they do that?
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah. Where's Big Jim?
I know. I want my big Jim.
Give me
I
that gorilla.
I do think these animal cages are kind of depressing, which makes me think that Cassie's mom is kind of a bitch. Like she's the one taking care of these like Cassie's over here, like, oh, my family loves animals. We care for them. This cage sucks. Why are you keeping it
Yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah.
The
Well,
best
this
stuff
is
they
the
had, I guess.
zoo that abused their
Right,
animals.
right. Well, that means it's Cassie's mom who's doing that now. It's
Mm,
canon.
yeah, yeah, that sucks. What the fuck, Cassie's mom? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Here's another change too that maybe you didn't notice, but I
Mm.
didn't. I read it online.
Okay.
Tobias's hawk is not a red-tailed hawk.
Oh, really? It isn't.
It's like a Harris hawk or something like that. It's a different
Mm.
kind of hawk. So,
I
you
guess I'm
know,
not enough of a bird boy to have noticed that.
yeah, not like Tobias. He would know.
Yeah, immediately he'd be like, "Oh, what? So we all look the same to you? Is that what you're saying?"
Yeah, I mean, obviously those fucking crows all look the same. Those fucking jaybirds. I hate their asses, but
Yeah,
we
yeah.
hawks are a proud, distinct race of bird.
Talking about the ethnic superiority of the red tail to the Harris hawk or whatever.
That's why he's Shorm with Axe. They both love getting along, talking about their shared superiority racism.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, that's probably what it is. It's his Andalite upbringing.
Hmm,
Uh,
hmm.
oh, can I also say when they're breaking into this place, there's a scene where Marco and Jake have a big argument about who's going to go first over the barbed wire, while in the background Cassie just unlocks the gate. And it's really tropey, but I really like it, and I think Jake and Marco work really well together in that. Like that's like I think the best example of them having that kind of like, yeah, okay, they're bros scene.
Yeah, I
It
agree. It's
works.
pretty funny. It's
I like
funny.
it. Yeah, it
I
works.
laughed. They got him. Got him. That's what I said when it happened. I was like, got him.
Got him. It is good.
Yeah, it's funny. Um, then okay, now we're headed to the Yeerk Pool.
Well, before we do that, there is a
What?
bit here I want to talk about.
Okay, okay.
So, okay.
You
There's
mean
a
in the
bit
school hallways?
No, there's a bit here
Oh,
where Marco's like, "Are you sure you want to leave the disc back at your house where Tom might find it?" And Jake says, "Don't worry, I already thought of that. I have it on me right now." So, I have two things to
oh
say about
yeah,
this.
yeah,
First
yeah.
one, the simple one is Elfangor told Tobias to guard that with his heart and soul. I'm glad Jake is guarding it with his heart and soul.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
The second point here, well, I guess there's 3 points. The second point here that I'm going to make is that um, you didn't need to include this. Like, what is this here for? I would not have been like, oh, where's the disc? Isn't Tom going to find it? It'd be like, I don't know.
Mm,
He probably hit it or did so. It's fine. I don't know why
mm-hmm,
I'm worried about this.
mm-hmm.
And so this is the big one. Okay.
Should I respond to that one first?
Oh, no, respond to these because this next one's a big one.
Well, just quickly, it would make more sense if maybe you're supposed to be worried at the Yeerk Pool that they'll take it from him, but
Mm,
that never happened. So it would make sense if that was a setup for, oh, let's search that kid and look what we found, but that never
yeah.
happens, so it's pointless.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. So here's
Yeah.
the big one. Um, Presumably this means he has it on him when he morphs.
Hmm.
And so I guess it goes into Z space and comes back. Now I'm willing to accept clothes, right? Because clothing is like part of your residual self-image, you know. If I imagine myself
Right.
walking down the street, the generic me is wearing clothes. So fine, whatever. Plus there's a reason to have them morph clothes, right? You don't want to have naked kids on screen. Fine. But like
No.
there's no universe in which that disc is like narratively part of yourself. There's no reason why the disc has to be able to morph with them. And so now that you've introduced that, I'm starting to think like, oh, so can you just like morph things away into Z space? Could you like sneak a Dracon beam through a metal detector by putting it into your pocket, morphing a controller who didn't have it in their pocket, and then morphing back on the other side? How many layers deep can you do this with? Can I gleet biofilter smuggle some Animorphs morphed as flies in by putting them in my pocket and then morphing them away? Like what?
Yeah,
What?
what if we're just holding hands when I
Yeah.
morph? Will you
Can
will
I?
you go up into Z space?
Can I steal if you have a disc on you and I want to steal it? Can I acquire you and just morph into you and now I've got the disc because it was in your pocket? Like, there's so many implications of this that didn't need to be there. Like, there was no reason to introduce the idea that he can just have this in his pocket and morph and it's fine.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I'm gonna guess they never mention Z space once on this show.
that's probably right. That's probably right. Maybe,
And
maybe like
they
one
shouldn't.
time as an Easter egg, Axe will be like, "Oh, I'm communicating through Z
Mm,
space." The end of
right.
that.
Right.
Um,
We'll see.
yeah, we will find out.
I
But yeah,
really want to get to Axe. That is going to be so different for the
yeah,
show.
it's exciting. We'll have a lot less to talk about when he's here, and we can't waste all our time speculating about him.
That's all we care about. Yeah, that is funny. I did not even think of that at all.
Yeah, I
But
mean, this is the same questions we always ask about morphing, but
Mhm.
like, it's just they brought it up because they
That is
made
a
a
line they
change to
did
how
not
it worked, and
cross in
so
the book.
yeah,
Yeah.
now I have to
Yeah.
ask new questions. All right.
Yeah, you're right. And presumably, I don't know if they'll ever morph a human in this show, but presumably they would just have their outfit on if they did that in the show.
Yeah, that would make
So,
sense.
but again, you're like, it's like you said, even just a belt or something or a hat or
Mhm.
sunglasses. It's like, well, wait, you morphed sunglasses? It doesn't.
Yeah, where's the line, right?
There's no line because there's nothing makes sense. I guess
No.
non-living would have to be the line at least.
Yeah, I guess. Except, I mean, like, listen, we already asked questions about what about Yeerks? What about your gut biome? All that bullshit. But what if you have a
Right.
tapeworm? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, very true.
But
Just
whatever.
germ, just normal like microscopic beings that you have on you at all times.
Yeah, I mean, Marco morphed out of having rabies that one time in the worst Marco book.
It's fucking ridiculous. All right. Anyway, we're going to the Yeerk Pool.
Yes.
I think at this point also, so we just watched the Goosebumps TV show on the Patreon, and I
Mhm.
felt like the slow motion and the little musical stings here were very Goosebumps.
Yes, I see that. I can see
We're
that.
like going around corners and slowly at different angles towards people's spooky faces, like boom,
Mhm.
boom, boom. Are you afraid of the dark? Like they all kind of look like that.
Yeah, I love the fucking zombie line through the school. It's all Dutch angles and yeah,
Yeah.
fades. It's good.
No meeting. The meeting just is the Yeerk Pool. We don't get to see a fake like everybody hanging out at the sharing. It's
Yeah.
just sharing meeting tonight. We're recharging at the Yeerk Pool. Like that's just all it is, which is kind of stupid. It doesn't
Yeah,
really.
that is kind of weird since I mean, didn't
They
Tom
have
invite
signs up
Jake
for it. Yeah.
and Chapman invited Marco? Yeah, like if you're a new sharing member, are you just like, all right, I guess I get in this line and go
I yeah.
down into the spooky cave that's under the school? I didn't know that was there.
Apparently, yeah. Or they came for the after party. Maybe we skipped the meeting. I don't
Right.
know. That's strange.
Mhm.
We once Visser 3 is in this scene technically.
Mr. 3 is here. He's got a little what do you call that? It's like a little
Like a cubby hole, like a
a
porthole.
cubby hole. I was thinking like the little like the seat that like the emperor sits in above the Colosseum, but yeah, it's like cut into the rock, so he's got that way you don't have to see anything like below his human torso.
Yeah, you just see like basically his head
His
and
head
torso
again.
from behind a wall.
Yeah, I mean, I swear when he's talking and they do the close-ups, I swear it's like the same shots from the first episode. It's the head's just you
Probably. And
fools.
same deal with the Hork-Bajir. Well, you actually do. This is now the first time we actually see the full body of a Hork-Bajir.
Yeah, we get a full body hork here.
But it's all in shadow. It's very brief, and it's very
Yeah.
hard to make out what
And
it
it
actually
doesn't like
looks like.
move. It could easily be like a spirit Halloween prop on a stand in the background.
Very different, of course, from the books where there's just presumably Hork-Bajirs all over the place.
Yeah.
Here, there's like one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just standing there doing nothing. A little strange. However, I will say the general look of the Yeerk Pool and the vibe of it, again, is fairly accurate to the picture I have in my head of the
Mm.
Yeerk Pool in the books in terms of like the
Interesting.
lighting, the color, the look of the pool and the caves and stuff. Like to me, this is a decent, again, considering the budget constraints, I think it's not a bad job.
Interesting, because, like, I guess well, here's the thing. I guess I can see where you're coming from in terms of, like, the color and the lighting and the look of the pool, but,
Yeah, that's what I
like,
mean
when I'm
specifically.
right, yeah. But, like, for me, this was around the part where I was like, "Okay, this is starting to look, like, really bad," and when I say really bad, what I mean is, like, in the books, when you go into the pool, the sense you get is this sense of, like, overwhelming doom, like, "Oh, we're gonna go down there, it'll be some small pool that they go into, or, like, maybe the size of a swimming pool or something like that, some room, and they go down there and it's, like, the size of a city, and it's like,
Mm.
'Oh, fuck. Oh, goddamn, we are fucked.'" Right. You go down here and it's just like, okay, yeah, so this is like the size of an auditorium. There's a pool the size of a swimming pool. It looks like there are all of 50 people down here getting de-yerked. It looks like the only people who are down here is this group at the sharing meeting. Because Visser 3 is literally just like, I'll be in my chambers, notify me when you've finished regenerating this all of the hosts. Presumably these 50 hosts. And not like everyone from around the city. There's thousands of them in cages. I know there's only so much you can do, but I would have liked to use some kind of trick to get some kind of impact. Here it's just like, okay, they're in the spooky basement. It doesn't feel like we're in the overwhelmingly powerful lair of the invading force. Like to me, I go down here and it's like, oh, this is all they got. That's all the aliens got. Well, you can beat that. Yeah, turn into an elephant. You'll fuck them up. It's fine. You can beat it. What are they gonna
I
do?
mean,
Just
I
trash it.
mean, I fair enough, I guess. Obviously, as you said, it does come down to again just they can only cast so many extras for
Hmm.
this low budget show and make that work. I also do think, and it's not your perspective is not unfair, but if you aren't a book reader,
Hmm.
then I think it works fine because you're not thinking you don't have that idea in your head that it's supposed to be this massive place. It
Hmm.
can just be, oh, this is a pool. Maybe they have more than one. It's still creepy and weird that they're doing all this weird Yeerk shit. I don't know what's going on. It's still scary.
I guess
Um,
it just feels like a very different thing, right? Like it feels like it feels much more local and contained. Like, okay, the aliens are
yeah.
taking over our school, right? It doesn't feel like this is
Hmm.
a threat to the world yet. Like, okay, maybe if you let them get out of control, they'd be a world threat. But like right now they're just taking over the school, right? We're not at that point yet. As opposed to like, oh, we are so in over our heads here. Like, I do feel like you lose something by going that route. And it's not like they couldn't have just like done a basic set, have like a hole with a green screen and then just put like a matte painting behind there and then just like ADR'd in like 10 layers of people screaming in the background to make it look like it's way bigger. It wouldn't have been that hard to do that. As opposed to just like, all right, here's the room, here's the extras. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could have had some of those like shots of them like looking off awed into the background, and you imply there's a lot of cave space, but you don't actually show it because that's too
Yeah.
hard. I don't
I
know.
mean, yeah, they could have. I just don't think that for them, it's obviously they weren't concerned with it looking big. It
Hmm.
just wasn't. It just wasn't what they felt like they needed to do.
Sure. Which I mean, to me, I guess that's a problem because to
Yeah.
me, I mean, it doesn't necessarily. To me, I wanted it more imposing. I wanted it to feel. I didn't want it to just be like, ooh, the creepy pool. I wanted that. You know. You know what I wanted.
Yeah, yeah, you said it. Laid it out pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed that one of these controllers walking up has their sweatshirt tied around their torso in a really awkward way, and I think it must be because they had a logo on their shirt and they had to cover it up for
Oh yeah, I'm
copyright
seeing it.
reasons.
I'm seeing it. Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
no other reason they would have that sweatshirt like that.
That's gotta be. Yeah, some of these extras are not great here. I especially love the woman who like when her when her Yeerk pops out, she goes like, "Ow, what are you doing?" as they drag her away. And it's just like I think you know what they're doing, lady. What are you talking about? Is that the best you got? Make that
it
actress do that again.
Well, they kind of if you from this episode, it kind of seems like the hosts maybe aren't conscious while the Yeerks are in their heads.
Huh.
The way
Yeah.
they react makes it seem like they are like offline
Hmm.
until the Yeerk leaves. That's the
Interesting.
impression I get from how they react. I
Interesting.
don't know.
Yeah, that's nowhere near as creepy, but yeah, to me, I was just like, oh, it feels like they just got some extras, and they were like, when the Yeerk comes out, you freak out because now you don't have a Yeerk to stop you from freaking out, and that's the extent of the direction they gave them. And some of them did a fine job with it, and some of them did not do a fine
They
job with
must
it.
have had a script. I don't think they were just ad-libbing what's going on.
Are
It
you
had to be.
sure? That lady says what's going on, like says what are you doing like 3 times as they're dragging her away. It did not feel like they had a script.
They probably gave her that one line.
And there's
And
some
said,
other
"Make it
lady who
work."
gets dragged away who's just like, ah, which is much
I
better. But like, it did not feel like they had a script.
I think these are acting and directing problems, not script problems. I don't
Yes,
know.
I do think they're acting and directing problems, but I think that they are exacerbated by the fact that the script just says they are dragged away screaming. And I mean, here's the thing. You don't need to say anything
Perhaps.
more than they are dragged away screaming in the script if the director is like, no, 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 okay, that's not a good way to be dragged away screaming. Try that again.
Well, you also again not, and this isn't so much a defense of the show as it is a defense of the
Hmm.
creatives.
Hmm.
Is that I don't. There's maybe a limit to how horrifying you can make this Nickelodeon kids show.
That is true.
Like you can't have them going like, "Oh God, ah!" like genuinely horrified,
Hmm.
because you don't want to give kids actual nightmares.
Yeah, I mean that is going to be like a point that's going to come up a couple like I'm going to butt up against I think with this show just in general because like you know as a kid one of my favorite things about Animorphs was just how fucked up it got where it's like oh my god Marco's got his tail bitten off he's bleeding out he's going to die holy shit Rachel trampled that like there is that sense of like oh man this is so much when you're a kid and yeah, they can't do that in the TV show, and I don't know what to do about that. I don't have an answer to that other than just do it anyway and say fuck it. The kids they got to learn somehow.
I think this is has come up already multiple times, and I imagine will for the rest of the show is
Hmm.
a fundamental going to be the root of a lot of our disagreements
Hmm.
about this show is that you are not unfairly criticizing it not being what it could have been an ideal Animorphs adaptation, or not even
Hmm.
ideal, but just a better one or a good one even.
Hmm.
And I think I am definitely giving them more slack for like, listen, it is what it is. I understand the budget, the 90s. I understand it had to be for kids on TV. I'm just like giving them a little more credit considering the constraints of the show, you know?
Yeah,
But
I mean, listen,
I get it.
I am. Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing is I don't really yeah, I'm not inclined to give much credit for that. I kind of just want to be like, listen, do I think it did a good job or not? And you don't necessarily have to do the same thing as the book or even be as horrifying as the book, but like I do need to like the way you did it. And if you kind of just take out the horrifying thing and I don't get anything to replace it with. I don't get like a brand like you didn't invent some brand new vibe that I'm really like vibing with. Then I'm just gonna be like, all right, so you just didn't give me that emotional impact here.
Yeah. I
Uh,
think I'm also there's something about like if this show came out today,
mhm.
I'd be like, yeah, this is fucking horrible. I'm mad they ruined Animorphs. What the fuck are they doing? This sucks shit. But when I'm like, I don't know, this show's like off the air. It doesn't really matter to me. It's not as important to me, I guess, that they fucked it up because it's like, well, it already happened. I can't. There's nothing I could do about it. You know,
You're
it doesn't. I don't know.
you're
Is that
reviewing it for this show, and you're gonna be like, yeah, it's fine because who gives a shit? That's my review.
hey, this is I'm not reviewing it. This is a discussion show.
Okay,
I'm
it's a
giving you my
discussion.
genuine true reactions. That's what the people want, is my honesty
Your
and
real true
sincerity.
thoughts.
But that is don't you ever have that with, like, if you ever watch like a series of movies or something that are from like the 80s that you had never seen before, where I'll be like, oh yeah, that sequel, like if I had seen that sequel in theaters, I probably would have been like pissed. But because it's like, well, there's 7 of these and it's the second one, I don't really, there's not as much writing on it. It's just like, I don't know, I don't feel as strongly, or at least not as like personally disappointed. I don't know if that resonates with you at all.
I
If
guess
I'm
I hear what you're saying, but I feel like in that situation, I would still be like, yeah, that wasn't very good, as opposed to being like,
Yeah,
oh
I'm
my
not
God, why
saying
was
I
that
would
so
be.
bad?
Yeah, it's just, I'm not saying that I would be like, it's not changing whether or not I think it's good. It's just changing how much I'm personally feel bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm not like, oh my God, I can't believe that. It's just like, oh yeah, that's kind of bad, huh? Oh well, move
Well, I
on.
am going to try to call it out when I think it's not very good. And
And you
you
should,
are
and you
right.
should.
Part of it is also that I am just like, man, I would love a cool, good Animorphs adaptation. I want more Animorphs that
Yeah.
makes me feel like I did when I was a kid.
And
I
you
mean,
also have you read this whole series
yeah.
when you were a kid. So you have like a childhood connection to it. For me, I did not really care about Animorphs until doing this podcast. So for me, this is just all kind of a lark. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
wow, there's a TV show. That's just like gravy on top of the mashed potatoes. Like whether it did or like the fact that it exists at all is kind of just a novelty to me. So I'm just
Mhm.
kind of enjoying it on that level.
That's fair. I mean, listen,
um,
I will, as I said, like up until this pool section, I was really enjoying this TV show. I do think that the tone of this show works really well for like, uh-oh, Tom's a controller. Uh-oh, we have to sneak into the animal place. It works. The cast generally works. Um, and I'm liking it. It's just when we start getting into these like, here's the cool aliens, here's the action scenes. It's like it really feels like we're dropping the ball on that. Um and
well,
then
here's where
I'm
yeah,
coming
go ahead.
back to it cuz like I brought it up before multiple times, but again, this would be
Again.
better if it was animated. You can get away with a lot more violence in animation than you can in live action, right?
Yeah.
Like I can have a lion claw somebody open in animation and you just don't animate the blood and now it's fine for a kid's show, right? You just have their clothes tearing or something and you put like a little black line instead of a red line where the scratch is. Whereas in this it's like you just can't do that. The real lion cannot be extending its claws and slashing somebody, you know?
Well,
Can't do
listen,
it.
this is where I will agree with you completely.
Mhm.
This is our first big battle scene. It basically consists of the kids just kind of running around. Like you don't really see any fighting other than Rachel pushes a guy into the pool. Like you didn't need to be a lion to do that, Rachel. I got to tell you. It really didn't bring anything to the table.
In
Um
fact, Rachel pushes the guy into like literally pushes a guy into the
like
pool as a
headbutts
lion.
him, like
Immediate
doesn't even
cuts to
claw him.
Cassie pushing a guy into the pool in the same way as a human.
Right. Yeah, and then they just scatter and run away, and it's kind of just there's not even really a fight. It's
Yeah.
just like
There's a really
okay,
good part where they go back to the shot of the full body Hork-Bajir and they've like
full
superimposed
body.
Tobias as a bird in front of it. And at this point it actually is only a couple steps above Birdemic. It does not look good. And he says, what does he say? He says, like, Rachel, you've got Visser 3 to your right and 2 Hork-Bajir behind you. And then it cuts to Rachel just kind of running as a lion, and she's like, thanks, Tobias. You don't see the Hork-Bajir or any action. I'm glad Tobias told her that so that there is action happening. And then we cut to Visser 3 being like, get them, you fools, or whatever, and he's still up in his cubbyhole, so I guess he's not to her right. Like, I don't... It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean Visser 3 does not do a morph. He does not even leave his little hole in the
Yeah.
wall.
I mean, listen, I love the Visser 3 voice actor. He's giving it his all.
Mhm.
But,
He gets mad at Chapman, and there's an implication that he's going to kill him or punish him somehow, but
Yeah, no, like as they're leaving the pool, he's like, "You have failed me once again." It's good, but I can't imagine Chapman dies here.
No, I don't think so. It's Giovanni and Team Rocket, you know.
Right, yeah. That yeah, you know what? That part is fine because like you said it is Giovanni and Team Rocket, right? Like he can't it's fine. He's Visser 3 has always been a stupid over the top Saturday morning cartoon villain. It's fine if
Mhm.
that's what he is here.
Sure, 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 sure. Also, another thing in this scene that we're really seeing throughout the
Mhm.
show too, these morphs are fast.
Yeah.
They're they are turning into a tiger or a lion in like 3 seconds. There's no 2 minute long transformation here. In fact, doesn't somebody turn like demorph and remorph into something else in that scene? I
Do
don't know, but
they? I don't remember. Maybe.
maybe
Oh,
I'm
I mean, I
wrong.
guess Jake demorphs and turns into a skink to get out.
That's what it is. Yeah, he goes tiger, human, lizard, and it's like 5 seconds, and it's like it makes sense. I don't know how, even in the books, that's hard to, in the midst of a hectic battle
Hmm.
scene, it's hard to convey. And now it takes 2 minutes for them to like do this thing.
Yeah.
That's a tough ask. So that change does make sense. Maybe it's a little too fast. Like it's
Yeah, I
almost
get it.
immediate, but
Yeah, I mean, I do
something.
think it's funny every time they morph, they go to like the straight on like headshot type thing.
Yes,
So
you
they,
never see the body.
yeah, we're not gonna have them morph where you can see the background or extras. That's way too hard. I that
Oh,
part is fine,
hmm.
but it is funny.
I think I know the name of Visser 3's human character, by the way.
Oh shit. Oh man.
It's in the credits.
Oh, is it
It says he plays Visser 3 slash Trent.
Trent?
That's what it says.
I don't know that that's a good name.
Unless there's another, maybe the human actor plays a different guy whose name just happens to be Trent. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway,
It's not
the
Max
episode.
Leach.
No, it's not Max Leach. The episode ends with them all getting oot of
Yeah,
the
they all
Yeerk
get oot.
Pool. Yeah, except for Tobias. Rachel says, "I'm sure he made it oot." And in the invasion, don't we see Tobias at the end? Like we know he's a hawk, or am I wrong?
Yeah, at the very end, they get out and they all go back. They don't know where Tobias is, and Tobias shows up in Jake's room.
Hmm.
And Jake's like, "Oh, thank God, Tobias! I'm glad you made it out, demorph." And Tobias is like, "Can't do that, Jake," and it's
Hmm.
tragic.
Which is
Yeah, here they're
that's
just
okay.
like, yeah, hmm?
Yeah. No, go
Well,
ahead.
yeah, I mean, here Marco's just like, "Good thing we got out, right, Tobias?" And they're like, "Marco, that's not Tobias. That's just some random bird." And he's like, "Wait, what?
That was
Where's
pretty funny.
Tobias?" Yeah, it was good.
I've been just talking to some bird this whole time. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was good.
Um,
I liked that. That was a good addition. They
uh,
do when they're
yeah.
looking for Tobias, they do a little reprise of the ridiculously
Whoa.
stupid Rachel Tobias music.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is
I
nice.
It's not I mean, for a serialized show, I think it makes
Mhm.
sense, and for time reasons to leave that as a little more of a cliffhanger. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
We can deal with that next episode, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
find out. I guess he's a bird from now. Do you think the human actor will I mean, I
no,
guess
yes, I think it will be just like Axe, like we were guessing it will be with
yeah.
Axe. I mean, that actor is in the opening credits. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna be in every episode. I guarantee.
Well, but
Uh,
Tobias can't morph again. He's a hawk.
oh, right, you're
So maybe
right.
they
So I
will
guess.
do the Elemist.
Oh no, yeah, I think
Yeah.
as I said before, I feel strongly Elmist will show up. But I guess then
Yeah,
he
okay.
will be just, unless they somehow do a, no, yeah, he has to be a hawk for a few episodes. He has to be. The disc tells you how to morph again.
Oh shit! You might that. There you go. The
Maybe the
disc
disc
tells you
tells
how
you
to
where the
morph
cube
again.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the cube shouldn't give him powers again, but why not? The disc.
Yeah, maybe it
No, I
does. Who
think
gives
I
a
think
shit?
you're onto something. The disc gives Tobias his morphing powers back.
And 1,000 free hours of Web Access America.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that.
Now, we finished the episode.
Hmm. We did finish.
Of the two of us, I am the one who's defending this show much more vehemently than you.
Mhm.
I'll also say I did think this episode was kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I thought that the first half of this episode, generally speaking, I thought was on the up. Like I thought it looked promising. It looked like it was going in directions I liked. The back half of this episode I thought was looking worse. So I don't really know how to feel about the show.
My generalized way to voice my concerns with the show are that it moves too fast and things don't have the impact that I think they should have, which I guess is similar to your complaint about the Yeerk Pool.
Mhm.
But I think what I really mean is things are treated almost too casually, even from the characters' reactions. Like they should be really freaking out
Yeah.
about the fact that there's a Yeerk pool and their principal's a Yeerk and Tom's a Yeerk and all this stuff. And they kind of do a little, but it's really treated more just matter of fact. Like, hey, we're superheroes, we're Power Rangers. This is just it's there's the enemy of the week right there. Let's do it. Let's do our plan without any of the like, holy shit, what the fuck is happening? you know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you about like it doesn't have the impact it should. Yeah, in terms of the Tom thing, you do make a good point because when they're first discussing, oh, Tom might be a Yerk. I think the scene where Jake gets mad at Marco for suggesting it, because that's in the books, but when they do it here, it works really well. I think that argument works. Again, Jake and Marco, I feel like they got bro chemistry. It works. But then, when you find out that Tom is a Yerk, they're in the voiceover thought speak, and Jake's just like, Tom, no. That's like almost exactly his delivery. And Marco's like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jake. And then we don't really talk about it. Like, there's the throwaway
Mhm.
line at the end when they fail to save him, where Cassie's like, "Don't worry, Jake, we'll get him out." But it just doesn't. Yeah, I don't. The actual the Marco Jake relationship works, but the actual impact of Tom being a Yerk, yeah, is kind of lost.
We just had to, you know that you've read the books, now you know it again, and it's a
Yeah,
thing. Whatever. We don't have time. We just don't
yeah.
have. We have to do the. If I mean, I praised the show for sticking closer to the books than they could have, but if anything, that also maybe is one of its biggest flaws. Is these books when you're for a 22-minute show,
Hmm.
you just can't because that is the problem. They have to move that plot along and you don't have the time for those because you don't have a POV voice
Yeah.
narrations. You don't, or you mean you could. Sometimes they do, but they didn't.
I find it very funny that you're saying they move way too fast when they're doing a third of a book per episode, but I do think
I
you're right.
know, I know. It's yeah. I mean, altogether though, we've seen what an hour and 10 minutes is what they condensed that first book into,
Hmm.
and you could. I don't even know. Like last week, I said, "Oh, if I were doing my HBO version of this, I would do a 45-minute episode that ends with Elfangor." Like I do think you need to take your time with it. In a book, you can shortcut a
Hmm.
lot by just having a character think something or having someone tell you something. But on a visual show, I think you need to go slower or really change it. Like don't try to follow that
Hmm.
first book. I don't know
Yeah.
what the alternative is,
Yeah.
but it feels like you're just cramming in like the worst of the Harry Potter movies when it's just like plot point, plot point, plot point of like a 500-page book that they condensed into 2 hours because they just had to. It's like the fans know these scenes. You got to see this scene. Why? It doesn't matter. We don't need to examine it. Does it
Yeah.
affect the characters? It doesn't matter. It's in the book. We got to do it.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
yeah.
it's funny because they did still cut a decent amount of stuff out of the first book, and even some of it might have been better. Like there's a whole bit where there's a cop who's suspicious of Cassie, and then Cassie doesn't show up to the Yeerk Pool meeting. And they're like, "Oh fuck, where'd she go?" And then they find out she's been captured, and they got to rescue her. That's not here at all, and that might have been a better thing to do than some of their stuff because that's just all human actors playing this like suspicious drama-y thing, which is what I think the show is doing relatively well. Um So they are cutting parts. They could be cutting different parts. They could be cutting more parts. They could be wholly changing the entire plot of the first episode. Like, it wouldn't be wrong for them to say, like, okay, I want to make the Yeerk Pool thing big and impactful, and I'm going to need to blow a lot of budget to do that, which is why they're not going to go down to the Yeerk Pool until the season finale. You could do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be a pretty reasonable change, because it is. I do think when we were reading the first book, you were saying, like, I wasn't sure we were going to see the Yeerk Pool for a while, but nope, we went straight there, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
You didn't have to.
Well, they might go back every episode now that they built that set.
That is certainly possible.
Yeah, it'll be. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my number one concern for the show right now is Cassie and Rachel. Um,
Mm.
I think Jake honestly feels more fleshed out than he did in the books. Because at this point in the books, I was not feeling Jake. I think Marco works. I think Marco and Jake as the work. I think I like Tobias. I like their
Yeah.
different. It's a slightly different take on him being an outcast loser, but it works. I buy it. I like how he comes off.
Tobias.
Cassie and Rachel, though, like, I don't. Maybe this will change when they get their voiceover episodes, but like, who the hell are these characters? Like, I wouldn't know that they're best friends. What do I
Mm-hmm.
know about Cat? We don't know that she likes Jake, do we? I guess she knows
Mm-hmm.
some things about animals sometimes, but like, I don't see her as the peacemaker. I don't see her as, the kind of like down to earth girl. I don't know who this character is, and Rachel is, like, honestly kind of even worse. She has a crush on Tobias, I guess. What the hell else is she? Who is
She
she?
does. She said she does gymnastics.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, she's just like, I think when they're in the fight, her only line during the fight here is thanks Tobias, when Tobias gives her info.
She
And then
likes him.
after the fight she says that was wild. That's it. In
She had
in the
fun.
book, literally the first thing she does is trample a Hork-Bajir to death while saying, "Puny nothing, you attack me?" That's the first thing she, like, immediately, first book, you're like, oh, she's a fucking psychopath. Like, who is this Rachel?
Not
She's
me. I thought
nobody.
she was cool. I liked her.
All right.
I
I
know,
just,
no, no. I do agree. You are correct. They are Cassie and Rachel are definitely the two weak links of the show. But it's not to me right now. It's
Mhm.
more. I just assume when you have only
Yeah.
22 minutes an episode. It's not that their characters are being done badly. It's that they haven't done them at all yet.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that is my concern, is I would have liked to see a little bit more there. And
Yeah.
like I said, presumably we're going to get episodes that are voiceovers with them, maybe opportunities for them to be central. Cassie's the chick
The next
who gets
one
the
has to be, unless it's Tobias. I don't know.
it could be Tobias. But like when they get the message for Axe, in theory that's Cassie getting the
Cassie.
psychic message or something. I guess it could be Tobias, I don't know. Um
Or just the disc. Who knows?
Or it's just the disc, right? You're right. Yeah, it could still be the disc. Yeah, I just hope, right? I hope that improves. That would be my number one hope. I think the most important thing for the show to get right is to make the characters have the same have it if not exactly the same feel as the characters did in the books, then like something analogous, something that makes you feel like, yes, that's Rachel, yes, that's Cassie, and that's their friendship, that's their interaction.
Are you just trying to fill out our time to 2.5 hours now? How
I
can
did.
I keep? Yeah. Mhm.
I did that one. I did have planned, but I did not
Mm.
expect to go this long. I'll say that.
No, I don't know what happened. I mean, we did discuss the theme song, of course.
Right. We also got sidetracked a lot. It's fine.
We did. We also spent like 20 minutes talking about the last episode. Not even this one.
We'll just have to keep. We spent 20 minutes talking about what Axe is probably going to be like when they introduce him. Oh, we didn't talk about Marco's second reference in my references list when
Oh, yeah.
they demorph in the locker, and he says, "Next time we use a phone booth, dude." Like Superman,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, again, every Marco line is an A+. Like
Yeah.
they Marco is perfect.
Yeah.
I think he's the easiest character to get right. It's hard to mess that up.
Yeah. He works.
Anyway.
He's good.
We will see. We will see as the show progresses. It's still very early on. I'm very curious to see book 2. If we even see book 2. I think maybe book 2 is one you could skip.
I think they skip it. If they don't skip book 2, they'll have to put Melissa in. And I'm banking on no Melissa this show.
Maybe Axe is episode 3. No, episode 3's got to be all about Tobias. So yeah, maybe they just jump right to the encounter or whatever that is.
I mean, honestly, that would make sense. Next episode is Tobias is a Hawk episode. After that, introduce Axe. Skip book 2.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll find out. Hey, let us know what you think about these things. Do you like the Yeerk Pool? Do you like the fight scene? Do you like Marco?
Of course they like Marco.
How do you feel about Trent? Email us, theyeerkyboys@gmail.com. We'll read it. Because when we're doing just one episode in a show, it's hard for us to fill out the full length. So we really need your emails to make it longer.
That's right.
You can also listen to our Patreon, patreon.com/theyeerkyboys. This week we are covering these messages. So, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Hey, you can follow me online, jonathanestis.com. That's my name. There's links in the description. Find me on social media. I do other stuff. A lot of fun. Catch me over there. Thanks for listening.
Don't follow me. Nope. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Tune in next time when we'll be talking about Season 1, Episode 4, On the Run, on the Yeerky Boys.